All right, guys. So yeah, Dan, you are backstage because I'm bringing you out. So we are going to talk just Charles Band up the ass in this stream, Full Moon, Empire, all of his films. So let's bring out one at a time here. Matt at Pugwall 316
Hello,
over
Matt
in
in
the
the ass.
UK, across the pond. Thank you for being able to join us. I know it's later over there.
Ah, thanks, man. Thanks for inviting me. I've been prepping, I've
Absolutely.
been studying, so I'm
Yeah,
ready for the
no, that's
test.
all of
Let's
us.
go.
This is good. Next, we got Larry at the Horror Cat Dad. How you doing, Larry?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, man. Had such a great time with the interview with Ted, and we'll refer to that for I'm sure when we talk about some subspecies. And then we have Mr. Dan from Mr. Dan and Horror. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm happy to be here. I'm doing the
Always
subspecies.
a pleasure to
Yeah,
have you.
I've been doing the subspecies series for Franchise Frenzy anyway, but this
Nice.
really encouraged me to start watching some full moon films because I have a lot of them, and I've just kind of been putting it off, and there's been obviously some hits and misses, but it's been fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, they get the Full Moon has the reputation that you hear all the time of like the king of the so good they're bad films, but like we were saying before we went live, that a lot of that came later on, like in the mid '90s and early 2000s stuff. They were putting out pretty quality films, even though they were low budget and they were cheap.
Mhm.
And I'm talking Full Moon, like specifically, like with the first Puppet Master and the sequel and the first Subspecies, and like these are films that were very low budget. And I always say Charles Band is such a great businessman in
Mm.
addition to director and producer and writer and all that. That guy knows how to run a business. He knows how to get movies shot done quick, like cheap, all of that, and he knows how to market it all. And so
Oh man, I'd recommend his audiobook as well. It's really good. It's really interesting, like his career in film,
oh yeah,
from a child, from a child working with his dad all the way through to like post COVID. It's a really good listen or a read if you want to read the book. Uh,
I'd be definitely interested to read that or hear it because yeah, he's always been a figure in the horror genre that I've looked up to in multiple ways, and that is one. Is just he knows how to run a business and how to market movies. So we kind of put we're gonna like go through little sections here, guys, in the chat. It's Phil, nice to see you. Joe, what's up, Joe, the horror guy? And you keep doing your dream of YouTube, man. I saw your comment. Just keep doing it. And so we're gonna go through some Charles Band productions and Empire films that me and Dan made like a top 5 of, and some honorable mentions. And these movies, for people who don't know, are the ones that predate Full Moon's creation as a company. And then the four of us are gonna list down our top 10 of our favorite Full Moon slash Empire slash Charles Band productions and everything like that. So I had a few honorable mentions with Empire, and one of them, it's not a great movie, but Parasite from 1982. Just for the effects work and the puppetry, and just I think it was one of his earliest films, Charles Band, that he directed, because that was him directing. So that one gets an honorable mention, just as a cool little creature feature. Ghoulies 2 from '87, and I mean Ghoulies. I just recently went through that series. After the second film, they sold the rights to the Ghoulies franchise, which makes a lot of sense. It was pretty much their way to try to save Empire from like bankruptcy, and they sold the rights to the Ghoulies films, and that's why we got the atrocious 3 and 4. But Ghoulies 2 is a lot of fun. Like it's a very fun sequel. From Beyond, and yeah, it's just as an honorable mention. I mean, Stuart Gordon has worked with Charles Band and Empire for with a lot of movies, as we know. But From Beyond is pretty much on the same level as Reanimator for me as a film. Like it's very underrated, I feel, to this day. And the last honorable mention I had was Creepazoids from '87. We have Linnea Quigley in there. That's just a fun movie to watch. So those are some honorable mentions I had, which Charles Band and Empire pre Full Moon. I wasn't Mr. Dan. What did you have there?
Well, I would have From Beyond on there. I really wanted to rewatch that one. I just didn't feel like without, having not rewatched it, I couldn't put it in my top 5. It might end up there. But so that's one honorable mention. And by the way, I may be able to actually see that in the theater along with a whole bunch of other Jeffrey Combs films this month.
Nice.
That would be cool.
Yeah, he's going to be there. I missed out on the tickets, the deluxe package where he signed something, but I've got I actually, in my high school yearbook blurb, I actually have another Jeffrey Combs movie I wrote in there. So anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. But
that's awesome. Though.
Yeah,
to see it on the big screen would be an experience for sure.
Yeah. Because I used to make my friends rent these movies. They didn't want to, and I would wear them down. And then, like, I remember watching From Beyond, and they were like, "What is going on here?" So
it's definitely one of Stuart Gordon's most what the fuck movies.
Yeah,
and that's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie.
And then the other one it would be Laser Blast, and it's mostly for nostalgia because that was on TV when we were kids. It was a sci-fi movie with stop motion.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that movie.
It's on Mystery Science Theater.
Yes,
I know that.
Great episode of Mystery Science Theater. Yeah, great episode. I remember my dad saying, "Roddy McDowell." Well, that's where half the budget went. that's
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. But it's not a great movie, but it's
fun.
It's a fun movie, and I just remember it from my childhood. Yeah.
That's awesome. We got more people in the chat. Just want to say hey to Al. We got Al the Bat in here. How you doing, buddy? We got Brent. What's going on, Brent? Here's a question. Anyone know will the Primeval still be released digitally tomorrow? Don't see it listed anywhere yet. I am not sure. Does anybody have an answer for that? I know it's the newest thing they have coming out, but I'm not sure on the release on it. If you have Instagram, I mean, it's easily Google. You can Google it, but Instagram might have it, like Full Moon's official account, because they're always posting like releases and stuff like that. So you might get an answer on Instagram if you check their official account. And that's everybody else for now. So yeah, those are great honorable mentions. So we'll jump into and do our quick little top 5 Empire / Charles that way, because I know for a fact probably 90% are going to be on Matt and Larry's lists. So for number 5, I had Ghoulies, the original from 1985. So if anyone had that, has that on their list?
No,
I really excuse me. I wanted to watch Ghoulies and Ghoulies 2. I just didn't fit it all in. I watched a bunch of movies that I'm not even going to mention tonight because they didn't make the cut. Killjoy and a bunch of movies that I've heard about, but those 2 I just didn't get to.
Yeah, Ghoulies is such a fun movie, and it's something that me and Larry talked about with Ted when we had him on the other day, with something that Full Moon and Charles always excelled at is just being able to make a great atmosphere in a one location, like for the entire film. And the first Ghoulies all takes place in that house and in the basement, the satanic basement, all the occult stuff, and it keeps that great atmosphere through all of it. It gets compared to Gremlins and like a ripoff of Gremlins, just like Critters, but all 3 of those movies couldn't be more different, if you ask me, except for the obvious that they're puppets, that is puppet work being done. The stories are completely different. But Ghoulies is a great one. If you guys have seen Ghoulies, what are your thoughts on it?
It's not on my list at all. So if it's on anybody else's list and they want to talk on it, feel free.
Yeah, it's on my list. I mean, do I say what I'm going to tell you where it's at on my list, or just?
Oh, no, you didn't have to. That's why I asked for if it was on anyone's list. I didn't hear it if you said it or not. So just talk Ghoulies, and then we'll just list it when you get to it.
The ones that I remember seeing both of these on USA Up All Night.
Okay.
And they were a lot of fun. I always liked them. For some odd reason, I like Ghoulies 2 more. I remember liking it more
I can
back
see
then.
that.
But yeah, just always like the effects and stuff like that. It was just like wacky. I mean, another film that's on my you'll notice a pattern like once I name some of these films on there.
Yeah.
So, but it's just one of those. Just it's fun. It's fun. I don't know. I think it's a fun film.
Yeah, it's a very fun movie, and you're right about the sequel. And I was thinking that too, even when I was listing these, and I didn't know where to put one or two. Like you could basically switch them for me because I think they're equally as fun, and I know a lot of people who like two more than one. Something about maybe the atmosphere in that one location is what pushes one over a bit for me. I mean, two is a lot more absurd, which I really enjoy and makes it a lot more fun. But yeah, three and four are not great. If any of you have seen those, Ghoulies Go to College.
Yeah,
I've seen the college one. Yeah,
that was a hard watch.
With Kane Hodder, even with Kane Hodder, you couldn't save that.
Yeah, no, yeah, nothing could save that movie at all. But so Ghoulies, that was my number 5. Mr. Dan, what was yours?
I'm gonna go with Robot Jocks.
Ooh.
Okay, that's one I haven't seen it for.
Right, and I just rewatched it. That's one I don't. Back in the day, I think it was on HBO. I don't know that I had ever saw it all the way through. I probably saw all of it, but just like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there,
Yeah.
And rewatching it, it was good, and I enjoyed it. As I've watched more and more movies, I've appreciated like seeing a lot of the same old character actors and stuff. So I've been watching a lot of biker films, and the Russian heavy in that is Paul Kozlow, who was in the 60s and 70s.
That's
he was in a lot of biker films, and it was funny to me. You see a lot of these actors that show up in Full Moon films. You don't think of them as like Full Moon actors, but then there they are. It was cool. Yeah, it's fun. It was just a fun movie. I love the effects.
That's one I got to rewatch for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a fun one.
Yeah,
was that on
Robot Jocks for sure?
Was that on either of your lists, Matt? Larry?
No, and I wish it was now because I was just thinking about. Cause I got the what's it called? Enter the Video Store Arrow thing when it was on sale, and it's got Robot Jocks. So I have watched it recently, but for some reason, it just left my head when I was doing my list. Yeah. So yeah, good call, Dan, because I totally forgot.
Nice. See, there you go, Dan. You reminded him. Now you can. Now I gotta friggin' rewatch that movie. It's been forever. So my number 4. This might be on someone's list. So if it is, let me know, and we'll move past it until then. Stuart Gordon's Dolls.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll talk about that then. Mr. Dan, what was your number 4?
All right. This is a strange one. It's actually Crash.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Is it on anyone's? No.
It's a bizarre one about a possessed car. It's actually a possessed amulet that is in the car for most of the movie. Okay. And I like cars. Those barren shelves behind me used to be full of little toy cars, but they kept falling off. So that it gets points for me for the car aspect. And it's just wacky. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. There's a scene where a dog attacks somebody like 5 miles up the highway because the owner apparently told it to. I don't,
however it works, right?
Right, yeah.
In the film.
But then there's another scene where the amulet gets thrown onto a wheelchair, and the wheelchair attacks the dog, and you see it from the point of view of the wheelchair, and it's just like, what the hell am I watching here? It's pretty wacky.
I gotta check that one out. I never saw that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll need to check that.
Good pick. My number 3 is, and I had to have this on here, as it was it? Yeah, this is Empire. This is where we were saying earlier. It gets so confusing. Is one of my favorite slashers from the 80s is Intruder from 1989.
Ooh, yeah, I got that.
Is that on anybody's?
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk it then. What was your number 3?
Intruder.
Nice.
That was your number 3. Great.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. So we'll when we get to Matt's ranking of it, we'll talk it. Then I had Tourist Trap as number 2 from 79. That I'm sure is on others. No?
Okay.
I'll get to it in a minute.
All right, cool. Larry, is it on yours?
No.
Okay, all right. So Dan, when you get to it, is that your number 2?
No, Reanimator's my
Okay.
number 2.
All right, so Reanimator is my number 1, and I'm sure Reanimator is on your guys' list. So Reanimator,
Yeah,
will
pretty
stay for
high.
that. So Tourist Trap, Dan. I mean, let's talk that. Take it away with Tourist.
Number
Trap.
1. Yeah, I made a whole video about how this movie like kind of like scared me and like scarred me when I was a kid. You know, it was one of the first kind of like slasher movies I watched. I mean, there was little bits of movies that scared me, but you know, for a movie that the director thought was going to be rated R to be shown on TV in the afternoon, you know, there I am in my room watching some guy get impaled with a pipe, you know, and the blood's coming out of the other end.
Scene.
I had never seen anything like that, and you know, all kids are a little afraid of like mannequins and stuff that they see in the mall. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Especially that movie. That's the like creep mannequin movie.
Yeah. And it just stuck with me. And years later, when I realized it was on YouTube, I watched it several times, and eventually, you know, I got a physical copy. I still love it. I mean, it still holds up.
Yeah, people who know me and my love for Tourist Trap, I absolutely adore that film. That's one of my favorite 70s movies. And I said this with Ted and Larry. I always get mad that I can't throw it in with 80s slasher talk because it's the year prior. Same with Don't Go in the House from 79. I always get pissed. I can't talk about that whenever there's an 80s slasher conversation going on. But everything about Tourist Trap, I've done score covers of it. I love the score to it.
I was going to say, you've done the music, haven't you?
It's so eerie. It's so unsettling, but it's beautiful at the same time. The sound design's great. Chuck Connors Lawson is just great in it. It's probably like I said, probably the creepiest mannequin-based movie I've ever seen. The way that Schmoller shot the mannequins and their faces, and just the still shots on some of them with the grins, and then the animation, the stop animation, and everything they used to make the mannequins' mouths moves and stuff. Everything just holds up for 1979, and that's a very early Charles Band production. Yeah, which I didn't know for a while that Tourist Trap was produced by Charles Band. I actually found out when they put out the Full Moon release of Tourist Trap, like the unrated version, which I still don't know. Is there a difference? Because I've seen this movie so many times, I can't see a difference in either cut.
Yeah, I got the uncut, and I don't.
The red cover,
nothing jumped out at me.
No,
I agonized.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, Hamilton Books had like 3 different versions. One of them had something that this didn't, but this was the Blu-ray and DVD combo, and it said uncut, so I got this one, and then I watched it, and I was like, "Huh, that seemed like the Tourist Trap." The same Tourist Trap that I saw when I was a kid on TV.
I still don't know if there is a difference. I mean, I forget if the runtimes are different, but there's no gore in Tourist Trap really as it is, or blood much. The only blood there is with the arrow kill, I think, and that's it. But and it's a very little bit. So I don't know what they could have cut, like from the original to restore. Yeah. So I think it was just a marketing thing or something like that. Yeah. Hello, Derek, Secrets of the Past Parahistory. Cool name. From Canada. Thanks for joining us, buddy. And Sean McManus. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Tourist Trap is just fantastic.
Yeah. So I love one more thing. I love the way that Chuck Connors embraced being in a horror movie. You know, he wasn't like one of those older actors who was like, "Oh well, I got
this is what I'm doing now." Yep.
Yeah, he really was into. He wanted to actually do more of that, and he was in some other ones, but this is the best one that he was in. The best.
He's really unsettling in it, isn't he?
He really is.
Yeah, he really is. And the way I love when he does the little kiss on Molly and stuff, and just pretending it's his wife. He puts the mask over. All that shit is so creepy. There's such creepy imagery in that movie. It excels at that.
Yeah.
But hey, Russell, we got Russell in here, and congrats, man. 6 months as member. You know, it's totally unnecessary, brother. But thank you as always for your friendship, your support. So that brings us into our top 10 full moon / band movies. So I figure we'll go in just like a clockwise order. We'll go maybe Matt, Larry, Dan, and circle back around for each one. Do you guys have? We have honorable mentions because I got a few.
I have 2.
Okay, I got like 3.
Okay.
So honorable mention was Killjoy, and then again, if any of these honorable mentions from any of us are on your actual lists, just let us know and we'll talk it then. I'm not a big fan of this series, the Killjoy movies, the clown and stuff. It just seems like another lazy, cheap killer clown movie. I mean, there's some cool stuff in the original, and I like some of the characters. I like some of Killjoy's the way he's shot, but I don't think I've ever seen any of the other movies in this series, and I don't really plan to. But it's worth checking out for people that are Full Moon fans. I had Baby Oopsie. Those are the most recent. The trilogy of the Baby Oopsie movies, the spin-off of the Demonic Toys films, and that is because I love the Demonic Toys franchise. So those movies are my most recent of any of these releases and stuff, Full Moon releases, as 2021 to 2022, those 3 films. So all 3 of them, because it's like one big story. But the main chick does a great job, and Baby Oopsie's great. And it has a decent story, even though it goes kind of real stupid, like as it progresses. But it's worth checking out if you're a Demonic Toys fan. And the other one I had is The Pit and the Pendulum from 1991. Stuart Gordon. Is that on anybody's? All right, so we'll talk that then.
It's not
Matt?
not on my list, but it's an honorable mention. Is it on your list, Larry?
Yeah, it's on Larry's list. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, Matt, honorable mentions.
Okay, so I've got 2 honorable mentions. I had 3, and then I looked and I realized it wasn't an Empire or a Full Moon. Movie. I thought okay. Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. I thought that was an Empire film.
Oh, okay.
So I have Trancers from 1984, which I think people might have on their lists. Yeah. Okay, so I won't say too much about that one. One that I have on that maybe I could have put higher that possibly other people might not have on, I don't know, is Cellar Dweller from 1987. You got Cellar Dweller on, Larry?
No,
you have as well?
No.
All right, no. So Cellar Dweller for me is it's the great John Carl Buckler, written by Don Mancini from Chucky fame. But for me, it's one of the best comic book on screen special effects. Just an incredible film. I absolutely love it. So Cellar Dweller for me is possibly could have been higher on my list, but it's a real honorable mention for me.
Nice. Yeah, that's one I don't recall seeing.
It's in that same box set, the same Arrow set as well.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, with Robot Jocks, Arena, Cellar Dweller, Dolls, and Dungeon Master. And it was literally
an interesting combination of movies.
Yeah, I don't know how they've. I think they're all Charles Band or Empire. Yeah, Empire of Screams, of course. But it was like £20, like quite a good deal for 5 movies.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
So I don't work for Arrow or anything.
Oh, but, yeah. Pat, you're too funny. All right, so Larry, honorable mentions. Do you have any?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yep.
So one of them was I just realized I thought it was a Charles Band film, but I guess it's not. So that kind of got bumped. So one of mine ended up being 10. But honorable mention is Ginger Dead Man.
Ooh,
okay.
Crazy.
Not on my list. But a fun one. Anyone's list?
It's not on my list. I watched it last night though.
No, did you?
Seen it?
Nice. I almost threw it on actually in the last few days because leading up to this.
That was one of the first. That was one of the first ones that I went back to go rewatch when we started talking about all this. And so I mean, just Gary Busey's. I mean, he steals the show in that film for the most part. When he's not on, I mean, it's an honorable mention because it's like when he's not on camera or when he's the Ginger Dead Man, like when he's not there, you kind of want him to be there. Like you're always like, where is he? Where is he gonna? When is he gonna come back? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like
So
that's what I remember from the last time. Is the pacing is a little like dodgy, like throughout the film. But yeah, that you want to see him back on, and he didn't return right for the sequels. I never saw the sequels to that movie.
I didn't, but he did. He does come back. If I'm not mistaken, he does come back for the other ones.
Oh, does he? Okay. I thought for some
I
reason
think so.
somebody else voiced him.
Maybe he was in prison or something for one of them.
Yeah, he just couldn't make an appearance for that one. Couldn't do his voice. Imagine them recording like the voice from the prison cell. It's like, listen, we need to get this ginger dead man 5 out like now. We need access to his cell.
Right. Now my other honorable mention, and I'm sure this is going to be really weird out there, is I don't know if y'all remember pre-Hysteria.
Pre-Hysteria? Okay.
Yeah, it's not on my list, but I know it.
It's not on my list. Yeah, I know.
It's a kid's film, basically.
Yeah.
You know, where the kid from Last Action Hero finds like eggs and it's like dinosaurs and stuff like. I used to watch it. They used to show it all the time on TV when I was younger. So I don't know. I kind of have a soft spot for it, and it's not really horror, but you know, it's under the Charles Band banner. So.
Yeah, it's David Dakota as well. So it's like doing a kids film is pretty wild. Seeing some of the stuff he does now.
He's done so much with Full Moon. How do you say his name again? That's another name.
I've heard it as Dakota, but then I've heard it Decato.
I've heard it Dakota is how I've always wanted to say it.
Yeah,
you know?
I heard a guy say Dakota and it blew my mind. So I don't know.
Dakota.
All right, so good. You have any more honorable mentions?
No, that's it.
All right, any for you, Dan?
All right. Well, see, here's where the confusion is. I had dolls on this list, so let's make that an honorable mention for Empire, et cetera, et cetera. I'll bump one of my honorable mentions into my top 10 list, but so I'll just say Killjoy is probably an honorable mention for Full Moon. I mean, I am eager to. I have I think 3 of them on a set. I've heard that they changed the actor and that some people like the other actor. So
I know they did change who plays them down the road. I forget after which movie though.
But it was okay. It just
it's a fun time.
Yeah,
that's why I mentioned it too. Because it's worth watching if you're a Full Moon fan.
Right.
At least the first one, and somebody I think mentioned in the comments that it gets better sequels.
Yeah.
I think Hatchet Boys mentioned it, so makes me intrigued to maybe go back and watch like the first and go past the first and check out some of the sequels. But
fun fact, Killjoy, he plays Tito Jackson in like a telemovie of the Jackson 5.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
the same guy.
That's hilarious, but it's not
pretty much the same
outside. It pretty much makes sense, like in the whole weird scope of Full Moon pictures. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff that ties in a lot of these movies, and we'll probably talk a lot of that as we go down our lists. Did you have any other honorable mentions?
Yeah, that would probably be it for.
All right, so let's start our actual top 10. And my number 10 might surprise people, but as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of the Demonic Toys franchise. That's probably one of my favorite franchises in the Full Moon catalog. So Demonic Toys 2 from 2010 is my number 10. Is that on anyone's list?
No, it's not on my list.
Have you guys seen that sequel?
I think so. I can't remember. I get so confused.
It's I know, right? You said that too. It's great.
Especially with free trials on Full Moon, you watch as many as you can.
Oh yeah, I think also side note that it's great that Full Moon on Tubi has their own channel.
Yeah,
it's their own Full Moon channel, and they have all interviews at Charlie's show where he interviews everybody. They have a whole thing dedicated to Full Moon.
They have a lot of good stuff on Tubi.
Yeah, that's what I've been watching everything on the last month or so since we started playing this. Is the Tubi everything and watching their channel. All their movies are on Tubi for the most part. But Demonic Toys 2 is another one of those movies that it's one location, and we actually see Lorca from Hideous from 1997, another full moon one. Is that on your guys' list? Are you guys seen Hideous?
I've
No,
got.
He's like a mad scientist in Hideous, and he comes back in this role, and his face is fucked up from something that happens in the first movie in Hideous, in Demonic Toys too. So he has like a little cameo and as a returning character, so it kind of links it together, which that's kind of interesting too. There's the little I don't know what to call her, the half woman. But she's been in a few things and she's good in it too. And there's a new toy. It's like what the hell is his name? It's like a little like devil type thing, and it all shot in one location, and it's great atmosphere throughout all of it. Same with the first Demonic Toys. That was all in that warehouse. So I had to mention that one, and I had to make my list. So, it's just a fun watch. Like every time I rewatch Demonic Toys 2, it's always fun. Yeah. Matt, what about you? Number 10.
So number 10, Larry's gonna get in a car and come and beat me up. But number 10, I've got Subspecies from 1991. Look at him shaking his head. So I guess it's higher on other people's lists. So maybe I won't talk too much about that one. But yeah, that's my number 10. On my list also, and I apologize.
What was that, JT? Matt's breaking up?
Yeah, I think so. I think his internet's breaking up. You might not see him for a minute.
Dan doesn't seem too happy either. He's showing me his copy. So
that's funny. Primevals has Yetis in it, apparently.
Okay. Yeah, Patrick, that's an ongoing joke for my channel, Yeti versus Sasquatch. It's a whole thing.
Okay, I was gonna say, because he broke out that last question from the interview that I had with Ari Lehman yesterday, and
right.
Or Ted, was it Ted? I forget now.
I think it was Ari Lehman. Yeah,
it was Ari. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Ari.
it wasn't Ted. Yeah,
random question, but it was a great way to end it, and I was wondering. So that's cool. That's a nice little running gag there.
I love it. Yeti films. I'm watching Primevals now. That's on my list.
Right?
I'm just going through my list going click.
I gotta check if Primevals out. Larry, you're number 10.
So this was in my honorable mentions. It was Dolls.
Okay. Does anyone have Dolls? Okay, yours is higher. Okay, cool. So we'll talk that then. Mr. Dan, number 10.
Yeah, it's actually Demonic Toys moved out of my honorable mentions into my number 10.
The original?
Yeah, the original. That's all. That's as far as I got. I'm very eager to see 2. Now that I hear you talking.
Yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah, that's high on my list.
Yeah, it didn't hit me over the head. Like I liked some of the human characters. You know, I liked the security guard and the young kid, the pizza delivery guy.
Even the homeless girl, she shows up for a bit and stuff. The runaway, she's cool. Yeah. All the characters are decent. The acting is not the best, of course, but they're still likable. They're likable characters.
Yeah,
but yeah, that one's higher up, and we'll definitely talk a little more about that. Number 9 was Hideous from 97, which none of you said you had on your list, right? Yeah, Hideous is it's not the best full moon either, but it has Jacqueline Lavelle in it, and she was in 3 movies back to back, sandwiched around this movie. Well, I guess this movie was sandwiched by them, but she is gorgeous, and you have a scene when she's topless with a gorilla mask on, robbing somebody. I mean, it doesn't get better than that in a cheesy full moon movie, where we have this weird collector of these deformed fetuses and other deformities, and there's a war between this company and the doctor crazy guy who's in Demonic Toys too, and they basically, it's another little creature feature where they all start killing people and wreaking havoc in this one location, which also is great with the atmosphere. Definitely worth checking it out, even just for Jacqueline Lavelle's tits. With the ape mask on.
Yeah, I got that one. That one is on my list. I'm getting to that.
Yeah, that it's fun. It's not the best. It's not a favorite of mine, but it made the list. It's decent enough that it would make this list.
Yeah. What about you,
so that was number 9. So Matt, number 9.
Number 9. So I think people might have this a bit higher up, but I'll test the waters. So I've got Dollman
Hey,
from
Don.
1991. Not Don Man, but Dollman.
Okay.
Anybody
Dollman.
got Dollman on their list?
The original Dollman.
Yeah, from the 91.
No, I was considering making it an honorable mention, but no, it's not on my list. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I can put the. You have got it, Dan.
No, I haven't got it. It didn't make the cut for me. I did watch it just for this episode, but it just
okay, cool.
Yeah, and I liked parts of it, but boy, I thought parts of it were slow. It just didn't quite make the list.
I think for me, for some reason I've written bad story. Oh no, band story. Sorry, can't read my own writing. So obviously it's from a Charles Band story, but it's an Albert Pune. I like Tim Thomason in pretty much everything. I think he's got a lot of charisma. He's a good leading actor for this quality of film.
I like his performance.
Yeah, I think Jackie Earle Haley's very good in this as well. It's a strange thing to be up against a very tiny person as your enemy. It's a strange kind of like the POV's pretty good.
Very, very good use of forced perspective in that movie. That's damn sure. That's a good thing that stands out and was a reason I was going to mention it, but I'm glad you did.
Well, I think any film where the lead character is called Brick Bardo, I think they need to be on a top 10 list somewhere.
I agree.
So that's my number 9, a full moon feature, Dollman from 1991.
Nice. Larry, number 9.
My number 9, again, another classic from USA Up All Night that I would watch all the time. They were short all the time. Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama.
Okay, that's actually one that I have not seen. And
really?
I know, and I know Ginger Ninja just did a review on it recently, like a month ago, something like that. And I said, I can't remember if I saw it, but then like really thinking about it, I know I never saw it, and I know it's a classic one too.
I will say, if you do, Matt, do you have it on your list?
It's not on my list. I have seen it. I do like it. Linnea Quigley's great in it, but it's not made the cut. But what is it about it that you? Well,
I mean, aside from that, it's just like the idea of it, and like this, just getting trapped in a bowling alley, and these like little like honestly, and the other thing too is like I said, there was going to be like a little bit of a theme on my list at the lower end of the list. Obviously, there was dolls, there was this, but these creatures remind me of like Graydon Clark's hobgoblins, like those creatures.
Yes,
hobgoblins. I'm so glad I didn't go back and when I was doing all the mini creature series and stuff, the ghoulies, critters, the gremlins. I'm so happy I didn't decide to do hobgoblins and munchies.
Hobgoblins too, man.
I know. I didn't know there was.
You don't like hobgoblins.
I was like, oh god, they made a sequel.
I will say this: if y'all do plan to watch it, I need to remember if it was MST or Rift Tracks that did it.
Somebody
I
did
think both of. Yeah, I think they've both.
Did they both do it? Okay.
Yeah,
because I remember seeing it also on either or, and if y'all plan to do it, watch it on one of those. It's funny.
On the DVD or the Blu-ray for Hobgoblins, you can get the Rift Tracks on the actual Blu-ray. But like I say, the second one is dire. Like absolutely appalling because it's it's one of these things where they're in on the joke. They are totally, and they're making it 20 years later. It's like let's look at the camera and say the things we said in the first one. Oh,
goblins, and hobgoblins and munchies. Those are the ones that are just blatant ripoffs of Gremlins. And those are so like when I said earlier, how critters and ghoulies get thrown in there. They're all very different. A lot of them were written right at the same time or conceived at the same time as Gremlins.
It's just the names.
Those ones were, they didn't give a shit. They were just like, we're doing a little creature film and bring out these little terrible looking creatures, especially hobgoblins. I don't remember munchies as much.
Well, even then the and going back to the creatures in Slimeball Bolorama, it kind of looks almost like also like me and Matt did Uninvited. I think I made a reference in that how they look like the hobgoblin creature. The cat looked like the hobgoblin creature. It's like they all just like either they all stole the same puppet or something, or they got the same effect people.
Which Uninvited? Not the Uninvited from 2009, the remake of Tale of Two.
No,
the
from
cat on a
88.
boat. Crazy
It's a
crazy
creature
cats on-
inside of a cat on a boat.
Crazy
Well,
cats.
that's a demon
Yeah.
cat that's inside a cat on a boat.
Yeah.
That
And when it
makes
comes
sense.
out,
It is intriguing. I won't lie.
Oh,
when
it's
it comes out,
hilarious.
it's bigger than the cat. I don't know how it's bigger than the cat.
It's ridiculous, but so much fun.
But it's got Clu Gulager. It's got George Kennedy. I
George
mean,
Kennedy's like that about it all the way through the film.
Okay.
He's like,
Yes.
I'm not sure I want to be in this movie.
it's a paycheck.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Alex Ford, the guy from Airwolf, he's in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Take care, Joe. Have a good day, buddy. That's fun. Where are we up to? Who are we up to? What's Dan?
Mr.
Right?
Dan.
Then number 9,
Yes.
Trancers 2.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I have the first one a little higher, but it was a really solid sequel. And I guess an honorable mention would be Trancers 1.5 or whatever that is, that half-hour one. That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
weird.
That was really good. And again, Tubi, Tubi comes through with the full moon because you get stuff like that on Tubi. So that was good. But Trancers 2 is solid. I like the progression of the characters. Everybody that comes back is really good. Everything that worked in the first one still works in the second one, pretty much.
I was gonna try to watch. I said Transfers earlier, like a few hours ago, and it just didn't happen. But then I saw the 1.5 thing. Did that come out after the first one, or was that like a later one inserted in between 1 and 2?
I was trying to figure that out myself.
Right?
because
Like
I
if
went back
it's
and I
weird
was-
to call a movie 1.5 as a sequel.
Yeah.
Like so, it seems like they went back for that.
Yeah.
But that's something I got to definitely rewatch is the Transfers movies. And I held off, and you won't hear Terror Vision come off. I know we'll hear it from other people on my list or anything because me and Matt will be watching it soon. Coming
Yeah,
up.
hopefully Larry as well. Hopefully,
Yeah, and Larry too. Yeah, that's right. So we will be watching it, and I haven't seen it in
Fingers crossed.
forever. So I didn't want to spoil that by watching it for this list. So that movie could very easily, maybe, possibly even make the
It's
list.
gonna
if
go
not
one with a
be-
bullet.
be like a honorable mention for sure. So I'll give a little update on that in that stream when we're watching it. The three of us, that'll be cool. So number 8, and now I tried to stick to one movie per franchise, but it was hard, like with a few of them, so I didn't. That's why Subspecies, the original from '91, is my number 8. I have one higher. Is Subspecies higher on any of yours? Larry's higher on yours.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah. So we'll talk Subspecies. Number 8 for Matt is.
Okay, so I'm not sure. Maybe we mentioned this? Somebody had it as an honorable mention, but my number 8 is Castle Freak from 1995.
Not mentioned yet, but I have it.
I have
You got
it.
it.
I have it on.
Okay, so you got it higher. Okay, so I won't mention that one. We'll move on. But yeah, that's a good one.
Cool.
We'll come back to
Yeah.
that. We'll circle back.
Absolutely.
So
Larry.
my number 8 is so the way I did this is I'll just say my number 8, Ghoulies, and I lumped in Ghoulies 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah, I do that shit all the time on lists. I'll make 2 movies, 1 or a trilogy even, and say it's my top 10 film, like
Because
The Gates of
it's-
Hell by Fulci.
I just do that. I just did that for this list just because if that were the case, 4 movies would be Subspecies on this list.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I know how big of a fan you are of Subspecies. That's why I knew at least a few were going to be high up there. So we're going to definitely dive big into Subspecies in a bit. Yeah, Ghoulies is just so much fun. Mr. Dan, you're number 8.
Okay, yeah. Well, I limited myself to 2 from any franchise.
Okay, that's pretty
and
much
I didn't wanna-
what happened to me.
Yeah, I didn't even want to do that, but like I said, I tried to watch. I watched Doll Man and Killjoy, and they just didn't quite make it. on.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. But my number 8 is Shrunken Heads.
Okay,
Wacky.
that's one I haven't seen in forever too.
Wacky movie. Just has a charm to it.
Yes.
Some great character actors in it. Meg Foster playing a guy with a
Oh,
beard.
that's right.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I got to
It's-
rewatch that too. This
it
is
is
great.
so
wacky.
And how I'm remembering these movies. That's
Yeah.
why I love doing these type of lists, because then you hear the ones that
Uh-huh.
you haven't seen or you haven't seen in forever, and then it's like, oh shit, like I totally forgot about this one. I got to watch this soon.
Yeah,
That's
Nye
great.
from Nye's Bizarre Cinema, she put an Instagram post about it. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm watching it today. It was one of those kind of things, like, and so it worked out. And it, yeah, it's fun. It's just goofy.
It's pretty well made as well. Like
What's up, Echo?
it looks like a I know it sounds bad, like a real movie.
Yeah, like the sets are legitimate, like real streets of the time. It really has like a very like a feeling of like this. These are the kind of streets where there's like gangs hanging out and stuff like that. It's not like
it's good, isn't it? It's a bit like, it's got a kind of because Danny Elfman's brother is the director, Richard Elfman.
That's
and
right.
I was thinking it's kind of got a little bit of a Tim Burton-esque feel to it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So a good call on that. I didn't have it on my list, but now you've said it, it's a good fun film, isn't it?
Yeah, I got to rewatch that. That's
Yeah,
fun.
I've never seen that one. I got to check it out.
Fun.
Yeah, I only remember because, especially when you mentioned Meg Foster being in it, playing a dude or whatever. Like, I remember Meg Foster and relating with that movie. It's all right. I know I've seen it. I don't remember it. That's definitely a fun one to check
Like
out
Julius
too.
Harris, is it the main guy? He's like the big sort of voodoo guy.
Voodoo,
He's quite scary. He's quite scary.
Yeah, he's
like,
so
What's
scary.
up, Dirk? We got Dirk from Subjective Perspective Collective. How you doing, buddy?
nice. Hey.
But,
I was gonna say, like, when he mentioned Evil Lynn, I was gonna say, like, wait, Evil Lynn's a man?
that's funny. It reminds me, like, Clue was one of my favorite comedies. Mrs. Peacock was a man. It's laugh at the end. Great. All right, so my number 7, and this series is after this is just it's suffer. It's just pain for me. But Puppet Master 2 from 1990. Does anyone have that one higher up?
I do have it higher up.
Here in mine.
Okay, so we'll talk then about Puppet Master 2. But that's probably the last one I really like. 3 is fun, and then it just turns into a fucking train wreck.
Oh, I just watched 5. Oh my god. What
Yeah,
is
you said
that?
you Curse of the Puppet Master. Oh, well, I don't know what that is. They try turning him into a puppet. Is that, if I remember correctly, like
And then it just
whole,
ends.
Yeah, my whole
It just
playlist.
ends.
My
Yeah.
whole playlist on. If people, I always say, if people for some reason, like, they don't like me, they want to see me suffering on camera, go watch that playlist, my Puppet Master playlist, especially past like 5 or so, because it gets worse. There were some I wasn't even getting out of bed to record the review. I was just laying down, chilling, recording myself. I said, "You think I'm getting out of bed for Puppet Master 11 or some shit, like after the last 5? There's no way." So that's
I'm not getting out of bed for that.
yeah, that's just pain and suffering, like that. All those videos.
I love that thought process. It's not even worth me getting out of bed for.
Oh yeah, not at all. And there's some movies that they just haven't been like even worth a video, like not the Puppet Master film, but there are movies that I'll watch that never will get talked about on the channel. But that was my number 7. That was who we up to now?
So my number 7?
Yes.
So my number 7 is Bad Channels. Does anyone have Bad Channels on their list?
I do not.
No. So I'm a sucker for TV channel related, weird TV channels like Stay Tuned, if you remember the John Ritter Stay Tuned, and
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. And there's a bit of a spoiler for later on as well. But Bad Channels is a Ted Nicolo story. Essentially, it's kind of like Stay Tuned, but it's more like a Howard Stern style shock jock is doing an all-night show. He's refusing to yield and go off the air, even though the authorities want him off. And of course, the antenna points at an alien planet, and we get all kinds of weird stuff in the studio. So it's all based in the studio. Similar in a lot of ways to Terrorvision, which if you I don't want to spoil my later on in my list, but this is 92. It's a Charles Band idea as well. It's not as bright and vivid as TerrorVision, but it's got that same sort of silliness and fun. So yeah,
so it's kind of like a little. It came first, right?
So TerrorVision's 86. This is 92. So
okay, it was later. Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of, I think, cashing in on the rise of Howard Stern as well and the shock jock. You know.
Yeah, well, that would make sense. Yeah, the way you're describing it.
So it's it's one I recommend. Well, of course, it's number 7 on my list. Of course, I recommend it. So there we go. Yeah, that's my number 7. Bad Channels.
Nice, Larry.
Speaking of TerrorVision, that's my number 7.
All right, cool. It's not on my list for aforementioned reasons. Is it on yours, Dan?
No, neither one of us.
So TerrorVision time.
Well, we're gonna. I think Matt said might be.
He has it higher.
Has it higher, right?
Sorry, what was that? I completely blanked.
TerrorVision. You got TerrorVision higher?
Yes, I've got that significantly higher.
All right, so we'll talk it when we get there. Larry just mentioned it for his number.
How dare you, Larry? How dare you?
Well, it's higher than Subspecies.
Okay. Right. That's it. We're throwing down. Don't make me come over there.
Mr. Dan, what is yours?
It's actually Hideous. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Hideous is it feels like a full moon film. All the wacky characters, the eccentric characters, they're a lot of fun. The malformed embryo mutations, whatever, they don't quite pan out. You don't get enough of that. You get little fleeting glimpses here. It's almost like if they took these human characters and put them in one of the bad Puppet Master movies with more puppet action, you would have a really great movie. But the location is great. The beginning is great when the guy who fishes these things out of the sewer is explaining the whole. He's breaking in the new guy, and he's like, "Oh, you should see the stuff we find in here."
That they find what they find. Yeah,
it's fun. And he sells
great.
There's
just great moments throughout it. I mean, I covered that movie very early in the channel, and I remember, like, it was. I think that was the first time I saw it, or like once before that, and I didn't remember anything. And I saw it, and I said, "It's not as great as people were like." Getting me hyped for. Like, I was in like a full moon group at the time on Reddit, and people were like really recommending like Hideous and talking about it a lot. And then when I did that video on it, I was like kind of let down. But then since I've watched it a few times in the last year and a half or so, it's grown on me significantly. And a lot of it is, like you said, with the location and with the characters and how quirky they are, and Lavelle just herself alone being in that, and that saves she's in 2 other movies on my list, which spoils a little bit, but we'll get there. But yeah, that's a great one. So number 7, that was your number 7, right?
Yep.
All right. So actually, speaking of Lavelle, my number 6 is The Killer Eye from 1999. Is that on anyone's list?
No. It's too modern for me.
It is. It's ridiculous in every goddamn way. And I made this joke in my video for it. It rapes and molests these women, this big eye, more than kills them. Like, it should be like the rapey eye instead of the killer eye. But like, it's basically this guy, this scientist who does these experiments. He's trying to reach like the 8th dimension, and he ends up unleashing this like 9-10 foot tall eyeball into the world. And Lavelle is like not happy with her marriage, and she's fucking like the neighbors or something like that, and then this eyeball goes around. He kills like maybe 2 people in this movie and molests everybody else in this weird trance-like way that like his tentacles come. Like, the Japanese had to have had some influence here, right? But like, it's a real out there movie, but it's a lot of fun, and Lavelle is great as always, and just great eye candy and good like animation and stuff. It doesn't really hold up amazingly, especially for that era of like late 90s full moon. It's just a lot of fun, I guess, is probably the reason that I enjoy that film so much. So The Killer Eye is my number 6.
Wow, that sounds awesome. I can't compete with Killer Eyes. So number 6 for me, I think people might have it higher. Is Intruder from 1989.
Yeah. That was on. Well, that was on the Little Empire top 5. So we can. Is that on anybody else's higher than Matt right now?
Is it higher on yours, Dan, or?
No, I had it on my Empire.
No, yeah,
on your Empire. Okay,
yeah,
so
Intruder. Let's talk Intruder. Go ahead,
yeah, so I love this film. Again, I like enclosed sets. So obviously, most of this happens in a supermarket. Scott Spiegel of the Raimi crew, the great Ted Raimi, who I think is such an underrated actor on his own right.
I agree.
You know, it's high quality trash. It's like I don't know if there's a subgenre of supermarket horror, but if it was, this would be one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And it's produced by Tarantino's producer Lawrence Bender. There's a lot of really good lineage of people involved in this film, and I like I say, I think any film with Ted Raimi in is always worth watching. So yeah, for me, Intruder. It's not right at the top of my list. Obviously, it's number 6, but it's maybe one that a lot of people, certainly in the UK, don't talk about, or it's not really that well known. I have a feeling it's known as something else in the UK, but I can't remember what it's known as. But the DVD
Gareth is in the chat, and Gareth might know if he had good taste in movies and slashes and shit.
maybe because I've got it on DVD, but I'd have to go over there and have a look. But I know it's not called Intruder.
I can't watch the fucking Beyond and enjoy the Beyond. Are you serious? Get out of here, Gareth. Get out of the chat.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say anyway. I'm just looking at IMDb to see what I should have had a look earlier on because the thought had crossed my mind.
I mean,
Night of the Intruder.
Oh, okay. Is that another another name for it?
Yeah, I just have a feeling in the UK. Oh no, it was called Intruder. It's just nobody watched it. So
that makes more sense.
There we go. That was worth the wait, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if this was like a all encompassing, like you guys would Empire and Intruder would be in my top 3, maybe. It's like I said, one of my favorite slashers. It has my favorite slasher kill. It has my favorite kill in horror, like in general. The bandsaw.
Bandsaw.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The bandsaw kill is my favorite kill in a horror film. And I think it still looks fantastic. Like all the effects in that film look great. And like you said, we have the whole Evil Dead 2 crew here with Scott Spiegel directing, and we have Ted and Sam in actual like acting
Bruce
roles.
Campbell,
Bruce Campbell shows up for his like 90 seconds at the end of this movie. And when you look at the movie now, like he's top billed, like same with Sam Raimi, like they're the main characters in this movie. Another thing I love about this film, I have a lot of nostalgia with it too, is why don't I
Emil Sitka
right now?
Emil Sitka?
No, what's her name? Not the main girl. I don't know how to
forget
Estevez. Thank you. Yeah. I had a huge crush on her my entire
underrated
time.
Actress.
I can't think of her last name. This film, Intruder, and Sleepaway Camp 2, when she plays Molly. Like those 2 movies, I had such a big crush on Renee Estevez when I was younger and watching, like getting into the slasher genre, and had the pleasure of seeing Intruder back then. And so that adds to it. And then just the kills are, some of them are more brutal kills in a slasher film in the 80s, especially for the late 80s, where you saw more often than not them being cut to shit.
Yeah,
like
it's ahead of its
like
time.
84, 85 or so, with Friday 4 maybe being the pinnacle. And then after that, like Friday 5 was cut more than 6 and 7. So then all the slashers started going that way. But for 89 especially, I think they did an amazing job with the kills. The garbage compactor kill, yeah, it's 80s effects. You know it's a dummy, but it still looks great. And you don't see many of those types of kills. And I can't think of any other one really. A garbage compactor kill, maybe another film, but whatever. But the bandsaw kill, the way the sound design is excellent too. The way the guy's screaming, and then as soon as the blade goes through his head, like it stops completely, and then all the effects work. My favorite kill in horror, amazing slasher film. So yeah, I have a lot. I can always talk Intruder.
And they got Emil Sitka from the Three Stooges to repeat his line, "Hold hands, you lovebirds." Because the Raimi's, they used to make like Three Stooges type shorts in high school.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they
Wow.
Yeah.
So
What a cool crew! They're such a cool crew of people.
I know, right?
It's when you like, they're probably out of all the movies you can find on IMDb. Reading trivia for Sam Raimi trivia is always interesting because it goes off in they're just a bit like the Coen brothers in the sense of their influences are very much on their sleeve. It's and this is
their
a lot.
friendships.
This is a lot of fun.
Their friendship shines through all the Evil Dead films, and that's why it's one of my favorite franchises in horror. Evil Dead, I feel like it's a perfect franchise. Rise is my least favorite. I still really enjoyed it, so it still holds to that status. I love the TV show. Everything about that property, it's never done me wrong, and I don't know. It's just I like nothing but praise for that entire series.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah.
So we are up. Who are we up to?
Larry's number 6.
Yes.
It must be a bad one. He's disappeared.
No. Somebody was banging on the door to come in. So, number 6 for me is the Pit and the Pendulum.
Oh, cool.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mentioned that as an honorable. I just rewatched it recently. That's the reason it hit my honorable mention. Anyone else have that higher? If not, take it away, Larry.
So again, when the funny thing is with this one, the reason why it ranked so high for me was just like I always remember seeing the cover when I was younger, but I'd never watched it. And then so when we're getting prepared for this, I finally watched it, and I was like, man, this is like really good. You know, like I really dig it's an Edgar Allan Poe story, so like I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, and Lance Henriksen is just a beast in it. You know?
He's great.
The fact that it's like the look of it, the feel. I mean, it's
there's a great tone through it. And it's also kind of mixed. It's like a combined story with the Cask of Amontillado, or however you said it, right? I like how Gordon blended. Who wrote that? Was that that was the guy who writes for a lot of Stuart Gordon's movies?
Dennis Pioli.
Yeah, Pioli. Thank you. Was that him? Who wrote the screenplay? I'm pretty sure it might have been like with the time, but if he did, like, it's just more testament to
it's one I don't know a lot about. I've seen it, but I'm such a fan of the Vincent Price ones, and a bit like when we were talking about Italian horror, and I was like saying about Suspiria, how I still haven't watched the modern one because I love the original so much. I'm a bit like that with the Pit and the Pendulum, where I'm not allowing myself to enjoy it as much as I should. But maybe if Larry's got it so high up his list, I guess I need to invest some more time in it and watch it again.
definitely worth a watch. Like, absolutely, for sure. Like, even if you have it is a classic, the Vincent Price one, and it's not one I watch often, but even if you have that much love for that one, it's still a great watch. Like, it's just for Stuart Gordon, directing and just his vision.
Jeffrey Combs
and how it's shot. Jeffrey Combs, Lance Henriksen, like Larry said, his performance is great. Like, all of it is really well done.
I mean, you even got I guess it's an early, post Scarface, Mark Margolis.
Oh yeah, he's in every. He's in so many things.
When I saw him pop up, I was like, "Oh my god, this dude's in this!"
Yeah, he's one of those actors that exactly does that. Like you just said, you see a movie and oh shit, it's Mark Margolis. He just popped up again. The guy's been I think he was in like a few hundred films, like small.
Yeah, I did like this. And Oliver Reed's in it as well. I don't even remember Oliver Reed being in it.
And then Stephen Lee, he's from RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
He's scared.
It's fun. It's fun, Matt. Check it out. It's a good one.
Yeah, like I say, I have seen it and I did enjoy it. But it seems to have just washed over me. Because I'm looking through the list of people in it, and I'm like, I love everybody involved in it. Blimey, even like they said, there's a bit part for Oliver Reed. You got Jeffrey Combs, Lance Henriksen. Like, it's blimey. Stuart Gordon's probably one of the, for me, my money, one of the best directors or low budget directors ever at making something better than the sum of its parts through his direction. And I think a lot of that comes from his theatre basis and his theatre background and using small spaces so well. He's incredible.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, he's so good. So I do need to watch that again. Yeah, cheers, Larry. Thank you.
Nice. So that was your number 6. So Dan, number 6, right? Yes.
Yeah. I Pit and the Pendulum. That's one I wanted to rewatch because I just didn't remember enough of it to justify putting it on the list. But definitely going to rewatch that one. But my number 6 is Puppet Master, the first one.
Okay, mine's a little high. I got that up.
Yeah, I mean, it's Puppet Master. It's it's got
the first movie from Full Moon.
It's got what was his name? Toulon is
Hickey.
Oh, Guy Rolfe.
Yeah. William Hickey.
William Hickey.
Oh,
yeah. He's. I mean, some of the other Toulons were good too, but he's really good in it. Yeah. It's got Paul Lamont. He has this kind of like blandness about him, but it was almost like comforting. Like he was just.
I know what you mean. Like his personality. He has that. He's a very quirky, but like weird, reserved personality. But at the same time, like he's well-meaning and like he has this. He's very intelligent. I know what you mean. He's
not going to overact. That's for sure. It's like very. But,
and Barbara Crampton. We have a little appearance from Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, that's right.
As well.
Yep. And what can you say? Puppet Master.
Nice. So number 5 I got, and I'm sure this is higher up on Larry's, is Bloodstone Subspecies 2 from 93. Am I right? That's higher up? All right. So we'll talk that then. So number 5 from Matt.
So number 5 for me is Dolls from 1986. Has anybody got Dolls higher?
So you're the one that had it the highest up. So
okay,
take it off.
So I'll keep my sort of opinions on it quite short because I know other people probably want to talk about it as well. It's a classic doll film. I like the organic nature of the dolls in it. Again, it's Stuart Gordon direction, but the reason of them being so organic, it makes me think of the Amicus Asylum. With the when you cut into them and it's mushy and bloody and gooey. I love the direction of this. There is some light humor throughout it, but it is scary enough. And one of the things I guess is to make some very small things scary is quite hard without it being laughable. And I feel like Stuart Gordon pulls that off probably better than anybody else. Even though like the little soldiers shooting, it's actually quite gory and quite scary and overwhelming considering they're so tiny. And again, it's a and Guy Rolfe in it. And I went back and watched Mr. Sardonicus, and that is a incredibly creepy, scary film from 1961. And anything where kind of things are being broken into and faces are being crunched and cracked. I guess we can go back to when you were talking about Tourist Trap before as well. I love Dolls. It sounds like I'm trying to sell this pack, but it is on this. It is on this. And if anybody wants
make that joke last time, actually.
Let me put it in my cart real quick.
That's great.
Just DM me later.
So our affiliate link will be in the description.
My Blue Chew links in there as well. Code Pugwall for 20% off.
That's so funny.
I mean, I guess for me, in regards to dolls, kind of piggyback what Matt was saying, it's just really, it's so creepy. The dolls are so, they look so like crazy cool, and like you said, they really are scary. Like, people are afraid. They were afraid of Chucky. I'm more afraid of these. I was more afraid of these dolls when I was younger. Yeah. And I mean, going back to something I think Matt said previously with the force perspective or the perspective of the dolls, like the size difference, or maybe it was JT that said it, but you kind of see the early what I guess where Charles Band got Puppet Master. Looking at it.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
think, I mean, if you really,
Yeah.
if you analyze both films,
I agree.
I feel Dolls. I mean, Dolls came out first, obviously, but
Yes.
you can kind of see the parallels a little bit between the Dolls and where
Oh,
they kind of got some of the
yeah.
ideas from.
100%. Yeah. And this has got the benefit of having Brian Yuzna as well involved. So
Yeah.
the quality of what you're going to get visually and in a like a kind of tactile, usually gooey way, he just takes it up a notch, doesn't he, Yuzna?
Yeah.
Oh, he always does. That guy just loves taking it to the next level and just making you weird and shoving it in your face in everything he does. That's why I'm a huge Yuzna fan.
Yeah.
And just him, it's just also great that he's involved in that whole equation too. Because I consider Stuart Gordon, Barbara Crampton, and Jeffrey Combs, that trio, like one of the best trios in horror history. For me, is the three of them. Like the movies that they put out, From Beyond and Reanimator and Castle Freak, and they've done a few others. I'm forgetting one or two, right?
Yeah, no, you said From Beyond. Yeah,
From Beyond. They've done it, and she's appeared in, like I said, Puppet Master, and she has a close relationship with Charles Band also, as well, like Stuart Gordon did. But the three of them together are it's just magic. Like with any film with direction from Stuart Gordon and the two of them acting aside from each other, just is like a marvel to watch every single time.
And you make a good point, JT, when you were saying about Dennis Paoli as well. Like, the writing, the quality of the writing really does drop off when Dennis Paoli's not involved. And I guess we can add Yuzna into that as well. Screaming Mad George. These are all just incredibly creative people. With the same names that come up tend to be in the ones that we've all found as our favorite ones, whether it's Ted Nicolau or Stuart Gordon, for a reason. They're just really, really skilled at what they do. Often on a really small budget. It's wild, really.
Yeah, it's got such a dreamy quality to it. Even that last scene when they
I love
and they drive away.
It's great.
It's like in a weird fantasy land,
Yeah, it's odd.
I remember
it captures that feeling of like the story. Yeah, Birdemic Echo, get out of here. Let me know when 4 comes out or when it's supposed to, Echo. We got to do a live watch of that. Me and the Echo, a while back, like early in the channel, did Birdemic. Didn't know there was a Birdemic 2 until Echo told me. So we did Birdemic 2 and then watched 1 on a double feature watch party. And then
you watch Replicas as well. Is it Replicas?
I never saw that one. Then 3 came out. And Gareth had the great idea of being able to track it down. And we ended up doing a watch of that. So Echo, let me know when 4 is coming. The guy from Hollywood always make sure the director of those films always reminds people in interviews. I live in Hollywood,
James Wan.
We will watch Birdemic 4 whenever that comes out.
You could just react to his commentary of Birdemic. That's like as entertaining as the movie. Hearing what he has to say about his own movie is hilarious.
Sounds good.
I
love them. I watch Julie and Jack. I watch Replica, Julie and Jack. I watch them all. Like he's a genius. James Wan. I salute you.
I can't watch anything more than Birdemic, and then that's the only reason I'd watch the sequels is because it's a running gag. It's been a running gag with me and Echo for like forever now. That's the only reason I would watch the 4th or any other Birdemic. I can't.
I'm a sick freak.
That guy's done. I know you are. What? All right. What level are we up to? Who are we up to? We were just talking Dolls. All right. So I don't want to say too much on Dolls. My feelings on it because me and Matt are going to be doing a watch and discussion on it soon. So I'm going to save that for that. But
I forgot.
I echo everyone's sentiments on the film. I feel like it's one of Gordon's most underrated films, like without a doubt. It is such an underrated movie, and not even just among Gordon's films, just as a horror film. You don't hear Dolls brought up anywhere near the amount that it should and get the praise that it deserves. And I know a lot of people feel that way about that.
It's probably Full Moon's fault because they've had so many movies with puppets and dolls.
Yeah, that's what he said to Ted. Charles has a thing for little like dolls and puppets.
Yeah,
and creatures.
like the one called Dolls.
It's not just that; it's that you also had Child's Play.
Yep.
You know, that's the other thing. So I mean, it's like I was saying with you know, if you do the parallel between like Dolls and Puppet Master, you can see the kind of like the blueprint was set in Dolls, and then Puppet Master kind of they took and wrote. You know, they just and then they milked it they've been milking it for all it's worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've milked me my time and suffering with this.
Can you imagine if somebody just said to you, right, name every Full Moon movie that has a doll in it? Go.
Yeah, no. Like
all 100 Puppet Masters.
Where do I start? That's funny. Another thing, and that's a good point, Larry, with how it like foreshadows Puppet Master a bit, Dolls. I think Parasite, with the amazing effects by Stan Winston, is a very early example of Charles working, you know, like gravitating towards the other type of genre in a lot of Full Moon, like the creature features and the like the effects work and stuff. Parasite, I think, was a very influential movie on Charles for that, especially directed it, and it's Stan Winston doing the effects. So I mean, that's gonna make you respect the hell out of effects work, if ever, you know, directing effects that Stan Winston done. So that definitely, I think, inspired a lot of Full Moon movies and later films, and even Ghoulies, you know, possibly to an extent.
It makes you think of like Roger Corman, doesn't it? You know, where he's like, if you do a good job for me, you'll never have to work for me again. Whereas with Charles Band, it's like, if you do a good job for me, then you'll work for me forever.
Yeah, you're never leaving, y'all. Your contract is forever. You're never, you can never leave.
Puppet Master 37, let's go.
We're going to use archival footage and shit like that after you pass away.
And
there's nothing that you can do about it.
I love it though. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's like it's all family unit that like you see. Like we were saying earlier with Barbara Crampton and Yuzna and then Combs and then Creamy George and Gordon, all these people together. You get that family unit feel from all these people that act in and work on these films, and that's another thing that I think just brings a lot of these movies up to just the classics that they are, even if they might not have been if it wasn't for all the talent involved.
It's such quality crew.
Yeah. So we are up to who? Dan?
Is it Larry's 5? No, Larry, you've just done it.
No, Larry, because you said Dolls.
Yeah, Larry's 5. Yeah.
So again, so going back to like I said, kind of lumping in stuff together. My number 5 is Transfers 1 and 2.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's not mine.
Yeah, it's not higher up. I tried to watch them. So take it away.
Mr. Dan, did you have Transfers on yours?
Yeah, it's a little bit higher.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. So we'll talk at that. Mine, Dan, you're next, right? Number 5?
Yep. 5 is Subspecies. First one.
Okay.
Yep. Great film. Great atmosphere. Oh wait, where's my car? I had the car they drive in that the little
I can't remember what it's called, but I know what
I know what you mean.
Have you got it higher, Larry?
I have one of those.
Is it higher for you, Larry? Just a guess. I don't know if I'm.
What kind of question is that?
I don't know. I'm a psychic. I just guess.
But I just started these about 6 months ago, less than 6 months ago, and finished 5 2 nights ago. So I'm finished the whole series. And Subspecies, the first one is good. Good atmosphere. Just great. Anders Hove is awesome. Just totally different look. I did remember seeing some of it in college. Me and my friends were like, What is this? Like, what the hell is this? I'd never seen a vampire like that before. I don't think we watched it all the way through, but I definitely enjoyed the whole series, especially this one and the one that's going to be higher. But so Subspecies, number 5.
Nice. So my number 4 is the original Puppet Master. I mean, said, the first two are the ones that I really enjoy. The first one, I mean, the second one, I was debating like which one to put where, because I can kind of switch the first two around because I enjoy those two a decent amount. But when I really thought about it, just like little things, but like David Schmoller, his directing, and the fact that we see Barbara Crampton for a bit is always just a plus. And like the characters, it's for some reason the first one just stays the best for me in the franchise. And again, not a franchise I love. So Puppet Master from '89, that's my number 4. I'm sure we'll hear it again.
Okay, so this is a bit of a strange one, actually. So my number 4 for me is Puppet Master 2.
Okay.
So for me, most of mine have come out either late 80s, early 90s. I've got like nothing after 95. But the Puppet Master 2, I like the sort of the whole package of it. I like it. I know it's dead on 1990, but it does have a nice 90s feel to it. It feels like one of those 90s TV shows where you've got somebody hunting ghosts or something. You know, you've got this like group of people in the house. They're all kind of look like soap opera actors. It's a strange one. It has the music going through. And I know JT, you can speak on the music better than me because you can play them all amazingly. But it's the pace of it. I felt there was more of a pace to it. It kept me engaged. I've got such a short attention span, so like a lot of the Puppet Master stuff, like can sometimes be like do, and it's like, you know, it's hard going. Whereas this one, they kept it moving. So it's a strange one, I know, to choose as my favorite Puppet Master one, because I think most people would either go maybe the first one, possibly the third one. But yeah, for me, the second one, I like it. I like the set. I like the story. It's a nice, easy watch. So yeah. So number 4 for me is Puppet Master 2. Now I'm regretting I didn't have Dolls and Puppet Master 2 switched as I'm saying this. But
I've been thinking that on multiple things.
I had so much nice stuff to say about Dolls 2. Dolls 2. About Dolls, and now I'm like, yeah, Puppet Master's okay, but it's better. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this is where I am. So Puppet Master 2 is my number 4.
Nice. Larry, number 4.
Castle Freak.
Okay.
It's my number 4.
I got it higher.
Me too. Yep.
Okay. So we'll talk it. Dan.
Puppet Master 2, number 4. Yep.
Oh man. Oh, I'm sorry. I should. Well, I guess what he said is everyone got it higher. We got it the same.
I could just to add a little bit. You know, yeah, they're great at enclosed, having a whole film in an enclosed space, but it was nice to get out to the farm where the couple lived. They were great.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, the George Buck Flower. You know, he was always good in those roles.
Yeah,
you know, and we get to
always played a bum or an alcoholic.
Old. He was old forever, right? Like he was never young. You know?
That's true.
But you know, we get introduced to Torch, and in the later films, you'll see like flames, and then you'll see someone cover their face, and then you'll see them burned up. Maybe in this film, you get to see in one shot. You know, you get to see actual carnage in this film, and the later films they start cheating you on that stuff. So Puppet Master 2 I thought was a little bit better than Puppet Master for me. So that's number 5. Yeah,
you explained it so much better than me. Thanks, Dan.
No.
I knew there was a reason I liked it. I just couldn't remember what it was.
That's actually why I couldn't. Like, I was debating on the two of them on the first two because
it's hard, right?
More happens in 2. Like, there is more puppet action, and that's why I want to. That's what I want to see in these fucking movies. And as the series progresses, for me, it's just the big thing that doesn't work for me with the Puppet Master franchise is the whole World War II backstory and all of that. Like, I'm not a big war movie person. There's some classics for sure, but it's not my thing, and especially in horror. So all the World War II shit in the whole franchise just does nothing at all for me. So some of them that like are heavy on that are like the ones that like the Axis Rising or whatever, the Axis trilogy, the later one, that's like those were real hard to get through. Even those are probably a little better though than like the middle of the franchise.
They're better made. I think you're right. I think they're better made. The sort of the stuff that's around the war, but you either love it or you hate it. You either want loads of puppets destroying stuff, or you want to kind of really delve into the backstory of it.
Yeah, and I feel like they go back and forth on that throughout the whole series.
Yeah,
they did some movies that it's just mentioned and stuff, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But then like what I forget, there's a few though that are like mentioned that are specifically in Germany and stuff, and then there's like random shit, mummies and stuff that are in bad disguises, and like just it gets so out there and weird the whole series. But what's the
one that's a clip show that's essentially just
the Legacy.
Yeah, there's one that's it's like, hang on, I just saw this film. Especially if you're watching them back to back. I was like, I've just seen this.
So my video on that was just telling you how to make your own video on review on that movie. I said, go through the last 6 movie reviews I did and clip out a minute or 2 of each, string them together, and there's your review of Legacy. Because that's how it is. What a waste of a friggin' movie.
Great! I have that to look forward to.
Oh yeah, that's one.
I'm so glad
I didn't even watch all of it, and I'll be honest, that's one of the few times I ever
power through
a movie. I was powering through it. I was skipping scenes. I was like, I just saw this, and it was like they were heavy clips on like the one right before that. Like I think it's Curse, maybe it was the one right before that. Yeah, 1 or 2. So you're seeing that a lot, and I just saw it like right before that watch. Like I watched them back to back. I was like, I can't do this. That's like the movie that probably like started to break me with that series. But one thing I do always love with the puppets in the Puppet Master franchise, and that's why I have all the collectibles of them, and I love the designs of them. I love their characteristics, but I really love how they're not like good or evil. It depends who they're obeying, like who their master is. And that's a great little twist on, like a killer doll or killer puppet or whatever type genre. You don't see that. It's usually either they're murderous dolls, like Chucky and the dolls from Dolls and stuff, even though you have Mr. Punch, whatever, sidetrack. But you know what I'm getting at. I like that it depends who they're serving and who their master is at that moment, whether they're like fighting for good or bad, and
that makes them even more scary in a way.
Because, they're unpredictable, like depending on who controls them, and like that can change very easily, like throughout the series. So that's a really clever detail that I think was a great addition when they started that franchise, because you see that right from the very first movie. Like the first 2, I mean, they're killing people and stuff, but they're under the hell's his name? I always forget. The reanimated dude from the first movie. They're under his control, so they're gonna be murderous and want to like and bad. But then as I think 3 and as it goes on and stuff, then there's times that they're good and stuff, and they're trying to help the characters, and it really adds something to it for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Puppet Master 3, that could have been an honorable mention for me, because that one's okay. I mean, I think
they not bad. I can watch it.
They do play around with the continuity a little bit, but it's a freaking puppet movie, so I mean,
I definitely touched on the continuity throughout all those videos, because I can't with continuity, but like the continuity is all over the place with that series. Even like Andre Toulon's death. It's a whole thing that it's in the first movie. It's like in I don't know, the 41 or something, and it's 39 in the third one. Right. It's all over there. Then they try to explain it, but it's a terrible excuse, like for whatever the reason is. It's all thick, but Puppet Master 3 is not bad. I mean, that has 6-shooter and stuff, and he's fun in that. I mean, he probably elevates that film for me.
Yeah.
Who are we up to?
Who's I think it's UJT. Is it number
UJT
number 3?
Number 3.
To me for number 3. So this is gonna be probably weird for number 3, but I really enjoy this movie. And this is directed also by Charles Band himself under Richard Talbot, I think is his alias, and it's 1996's Head of the Family.
Oh, wow.
Anyone else have that
Not on my
there?
list. Not on my list.
I just love this movie. It's so much fun. This is like one of my go-to full moon movies that if I want to watch full moon, that I'll throw this film on. And we have Jacqueline Lavelle again in here, which her 3 movies. I want footage of her going into like Charlie's office each time and saying like, all right, so what do you got for me this time? And then saying like and describing the role like hideous. All right, well, this one you're gonna wear a gorilla mask, you're gonna be topless and stuff. All right, cool. Head of the family. All right, you're gonna be fucking this entire movie. Like, yeah, like she's getting screwed the entire film. Then like for the killer eye, like she would go in there and probably be like, all right, what do you got for me with this? Well, we got something great, Jacqueline. We got a 9-10 foot eyeball that's going to be molesting you and stuff. I would love to just see the behind the scenes of how those like conversations went down.
I think you have an eyeball thing, JC.
Yeah, maybe like Fulci. Like I got a Fulci,
it's all those Fulci movies.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a Fulci thing. He's rubbing off of it. But Head of the Family is a lot of fun. We got Myron, who's just a literal head in a chair. And he has these 3 family members that are like one has super strength and one like can see into the future, like they're psychic, something like that. But I like all the characters, as bad as the acting could be from like 1 or 2 of them in particular. It's just a fun flick and it's a cool atmosphere to it. It's a great horror comedy. And that's one thing, then another thing that Full Moon excels at. But I think this is one of their best examples of it. So, I mean, if anyone hasn't seen Head of the Family, definitely check it out. It's a fun one.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I've definitely seen the
yeah.
It's infamous.
Yeah.
The phone with just his big head
It
there.
looks like Krang. He looks like Krang, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say that. Yeah.
I mean, it's so cheesy. It's so Full Moon though, and then like that's why it's my number 3 because it's a movie that screams everything Full Moon. Like all the attributes that make a Full Moon movie, a Full Moon film, it's represented for me in Head of the Family. It's a real fun one. But that's my number 3. What's your number 3, Matt?
So my number 3 is From Beyond from 1986. Has anybody got it higher? No. So I noticed it was an honorable mention for a lot of people. So From Beyond, obviously, we've talked about a lot of people involved in it before. Brian Yuzna, John Carl Buckler, Barbara Crampton. I think this is the sexiest Barbara Crampton I think has ever been. It is an insane film. The effects are incredible. For me, this and Reanimator are almost like together 1A and 1B of Stuart Gordon. I can't. I think the color scheme of this and the purples and the costume design. But yeah, I know what you're all thinking. But but it is an absolutely wild ride of a film that doesn't stop. It's perfectly cast. It's as exciting as hell. All of the key players from Reanimator are back. And the budget is a little higher. It's just
a great Ken Foree.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's just a brilliant film. I absolutely love it. So, 1986's From Beyond is my number 3.
Cool. Yeah, that would make a top 5 if I had them all together, all productions from Charles Band.
Mm-hmm.
From Beyond is excellent, and I consider it just like you said. Like I consider it like a Stuart Gordon's tie with Reanimator. Like I group them together in my head a lot, and I often watch them back to back because I feel like they go very well together. Like not just because of having both Crampton and Combs in there, but just the stories, and it just makes a great double feature. And the effects work in both are excellent. It's an excellent film that I still feel is underrated and underseen by like the not modern, but like the moderate horror fans, like in that community. Like if you're just an average horror fan, you watch. I like horror and stuff like that. You've seen Reanimator, maybe. From Beyond is still pretty underrated.
Yeah, and it's strange, isn't it? Because it's not as, in some ways, it's not as extreme as Reanimator. But Reanimator, if you kind of go through the stories of both of them, people tend to find Reanimator more accessible, but actually the stuff that happens in it is a lot more wild and gory.
Oh
And
yeah, for sure.
borderline in some cases it might be more offensive to some people than From Beyond. Whereas in From Beyond, I think it's just insane. Yeah, do you know Jamie?
Yeah, Jamie. I was laughing.
Your brother, he's a man of impeccable taste.
That's too funny. If I had some pizza, I would put mustard and hot sauce on it, then eat it on. All right, Echo, start getting at it. We'll order the pizza.
Food streams. That's the way forward.
Right.
All
The
right,
ASMR, right?
Larry, right?
Yeah,
Larry, number 3, right, Larry?
Yeah. Well, I mean, y'all brought it up. I mean, Reanimator is my number 3.
Okay, I've got that higher.
Okay. Mr. Dan?
I've got 3. I got Trancers. First one. The only original that I have higher than the sequel on here.
Interesting.
Helen Hunt, and speaking of drooling, you got Thelma Hopkins. I mean, you guys know her from what? Family Matters, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know her from.
I didn't watch her a lot, but I know her.
Yeah, I know her from another show. I think it was Give Me a Break, where she must have been early 20s. Boy, wow, she was something else. Who's Larry? Who's the name of the Tim Thomerson's boss in that? What's that actor's name?
Art LaFleur.
Art LaFleur. Yeah, see, this is what I love about going back and watching full moon movies. Is a guy like that, his biggest role outside of these movies is probably in the Blob remake. That's usually the kind of role he had, right? Like a small supporting role. And here in this movie, he gets to be,
I love the Blob remake.
Yeah, but he gets to be he gets to really shine in this, and he's funny.
Yeah.
It's everyone is Thomerson is great in this. Helen Hunt is good. Everybody's good in it. Is this who directed it? Albert Pyun or was this
Trancers? It's directed by Charles Band.
Oh, it is a Charles Band. Okay, yeah. I was going to say the beginning part, where they probably didn't have a lot of budget to make a futuristic world. They always did as good a job as they could do with. They stretched the dollar a little bit, you know what I mean, and made it seem like almost a legitimate futuristic world. You know what I mean? And Albert Pyun made a whole bunch of those movies. That's why I was thinking.
He made a lot of movies.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, definitely. Is Trancers on the higher for anybody else, or?
No, it was just one of my honorable mentions. So no.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback off of what Dan said, I mean, it's for the budget that they had, they did a great job for it. Mm-hmm. I went back and trying to do a deep dive because when I was younger, Trancers 2 was the one I liked the most, and then going back and seeing it, the original Trancers is definitely has a grittier feel to it. You can definitely tell that they had more budget for 2, and I mean Megan Ward, oh my god, she was that's where I first saw her from, and she was a big part of I was like, wow, who's this? But no, yeah, I mean the whole thing with and then you can see a little bit of the elements that they might have taken from Blade Runner, like he's got the coat, and it's like just a little bit of the look at the beginning when you do see the future. And stuff like that. So it's definitely it's one of my. It was like I said, it's one of my favorites. 1 and 2. I tried to watch Jack of Swords 4, and I was like, ugh, it's rough.
Yeah, I want to watch. I gotta watch those soon. I've been planning on doing because I still gotta finish Subspecies with 4 or 5 and the spinoff. And I've been thinking of maybe doing 60-second reviews of the series. Of the Subspecies series. I want to do the same thing with Trancers. So I definitely want to do that and check those 2 out. Because especially, as you said, you like the second one better, growing up. So that's good words on both of those movies. Mm-hmm.
But that's why 1 and 2 are really good. 3, I tried to go back and watch it, and for whatever reason, it wouldn't load. And then so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll try 4. And then 4, I couldn't get through it. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, so fortunate. At least the first two are good. That's like pretty much how it goes with a lot of franchises.
Yeah.
First two movies, maybe three, and then after that, I mean, there are exceptions, of course. But
Mm.
so we are up to what, number 2, right?
Two.
All right. So I mentioned Demonic Toys, how I love it so much, and it's my second favorite full moon movie. Like I love the original Demonic Toys. Does anybody have that higher?
No.
Yeah, Demonic Toys is just a blast. I love the characters, even though like bad and like I forgot it was you managed to soap like acting, like soap opera acting. That's basically a good way to describe a lot of like Full Moon's earlier movies, especially like in that era, like in the early '90s and stuff. And that's how it is. But the characters are great. The atmosphere is kind of creepy, and the kid in this movie, he steals the show. Like they have this creepy kid with, and I don't like green effects in in a lot of full moon movies or any movies, like for the eyes.
Mhm.
But I like it in this movie, and this kid gives such a creepy fucking performance because he's mouthing the words and doing the performance, but then they dub in this older voice.
Right.
And it just works so well. It's really creepy. And the kid's mannerisms, the way he's like really, really syncing to the way this old, creepier voice like was recorded. Probably the best performance in the fucking movie. Or in like one of the best in a full moon movie. This kid really does a great job. And all the puppets are great, the puppet work and stuff. The kills are good. Like that's one thing I like more than Puppet Master too. Is I wish they were gorier, the kills in a lot of the Puppet Master films. They're gorier in Demonic Toys. Like there's some decent kills in that. So overall, it's just a really fun movie. The score I love too, which is another thing to mention. Just Richard Band, Charles' brother, is all the work that he's done, by Charles' side and stuff, and on his own throughout his career and stuff, and both of their careers is just astonishing. And having two brothers like that, and I know the father was also into film, and I think the son's a musician, Charles' son. But so obviously, there's some good genes there in the family when it comes to talent, and all of Richard Band's scores are just fantastic, and just add more of that full moon feel that gives a full moon movie that full moon feel to it. I love Richard Band and all of his compositions in like all these movies, but Demonic Toys, his composition for that is up there with Puppet Master for me. So that is my number 2, Demonic Toys. Matt, what is your number 2?
So my number 2. Go on, Larry. 2 minutes, guys.
Let me just ask you this, JT, since you mentioned how the kills were gorier in Demonic Toys. Do you think it's possible because like how Puppet Master was 80s, like I mean, in the 80s, a lot of stuff got butchered. I mean, just look at the Friday 13th films. Later, you think maybe that's why they toned down?
I could see maybe possibly, yeah. And then once maybe at the this was 92 Demonic Toys, I think. Yeah. So maybe by then and after a few years of having like all the direct to video movies, especially, they saw that they can get away with more again.
Mhm.
That's like that makes sense. That's a good point. And that's probably I would agree on that. But yeah, there's definitely, they're not super gory, but I mean, there's a decent amount of blood that gets shed, and you see some good practical effects. The second one, not as much, but it's still there, like the sequel to it. But more than I remembered, like when I went back and rewatched it, when I covered it for the channel, I didn't remember it like being that gory, and I was very pleasantly surprised by it. So it's definitely better, in my opinion, than the Puppet Master kills for the most part throughout that series.
Cool. I have to check it out. I've never seen the Demonic Toys, so I need to see that one.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And also an honorable mention to throw in is Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. That Ted, I mean, he didn't seem too happy with it when we were talking about it with him, but he directed it also, and just because of my love for that franchise and Ted's directing and a few things, the performances. We got Corey Feldman in that one, his performance is ridiculous. It's not good, but it's Corey Feldman, and then they have his daughter that's like way too like it's almost like casting a 20-year-old and putting like the freckles and a wig with pigtails on and saying like that's the teenage daughter like who's 14. Like that's how bad it is. But it has so much charm to it. So I mean that's a fun one. If you're a Demonic Toys or Puppet Master fan and you haven't seen that crossover, definitely check out that one. It's a fun watch. And it's a Christmas horror movie. It takes place around Christmas and on Christmas.
Oh, nice.
I love a good Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I love a good Silent Night, Deadly Nights, part 1 through Infinity. They're all great. I love them all. Well, love's a strong word. But yeah, I've watched them all. So I thought Larry was just going to be like, do a Kanye West. He's like, I'm going to stop you. You didn't put subspecies on the list. Just let me stop you right there. I'm going to let you finish, Matt. I'm going to let you finish. But all right, there's a nice reference back to 2000 and whatever it was. So my number 2 film, or second on the list, my number 2 film does not sound good. So I'm going to say the second film on my list is, because it's too good to undersell, is TerrorVision. Now, has anybody got this higher?
No.
No. Okay.
Looking forward to seeing it.
So I love TerrorVision. As we know, Ted Nicolau. I think it's hilarious. All the actors in it are great. Mary Woronov is amazing. OD. The Italian set. Oh man, there's just so much. I could just go on and on and on. Again, Brian Yuzna, John Carl Buckler. It is just an incredible, vivid assault on the senses. It's just so much fun, and that's like I watched it first at only maybe 4 or 5 years ago at a film festival, and I was just like, this is amazing. I was literally buying it while the credits were rolling at the end. I was just like, I've got to buy this film. Everybody in it is playing it ultra camp, over the top. It's almost like an Italian soap opera, but with the best cast you can find. Everyone's having a great time. It's gooey. The monsters are great. Some of the lines are hilarious. It is just
you guys are getting me so excited to rewatch it because I
can't wait to watch it again.
It's good.
I saw it once when I was young and I don't remember it all. Then when you and me were talking, you and Ted especially were going off on it and picking his brain. You were on with him on it. I was like, man, I can't wait to rewatch this movie. And that was what Matt, and now hearing you all talk about it, I can't wait to.
It's genuinely hilarious as well. Like, there's so many of these films where they try and put humor in them, and it doesn't work. And it falls flat.
You can't force, especially cheesiness. Like that's something you can't fake or do on purpose. I've seen it done maybe very few times, like successfully, but you can't fake especially like the 80s cheesy feel and campiness. You can't plan for that. It just happens because of the time period, and then time goes by and you look back and say, it's fucking cheesy as shit today. You can't recreate that. So
and then the music is great. The sets and the set design.
Yeah, the creature. I mean, it's like the colors, man. They're like so vibrant, and it's just like it's a fun movie. It's definitely it's got its wackiness. The creature looks great. And,
he's cute and disgusting and scary all at the same time, which is quite an unusual combination.
Yeah,
well, that's what Ted said he was going for. Is that he like a mix between that, like
it's like a big slobbery dog, basically.
Yeah, I remember the design of it, and it's really creative.
Yeah, it's definitely good. And then, mean, when I saw OD was Uncle Rico, I was like, Uncle Rico?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Uncle Rico. Yeah.
And I think the girl was the girlfriend. Isn't she in something else? Wasn't she the girl from? Man, I'm trying to. Wasn't she in?
I wouldn't remember.
Everyone is in it. She could have been one of the princesses. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
she was one of the princesses. Bill and Ted.
You've got. Could well be because I mean, even the voice, like the Beast alien is Frank Welker. So like it's just such a great group. But obviously, Mary Warrenoff and Gerrit Graham are in lots of stuff together. Alejandro Rey as Spirit, the Latin lover guy. The grandpa, Burt Remsen, who I didn't know. I knew he'd been around for a long time, done a lot of movies. You know, he was in films like, you know, the old cowboy movies and stuff. So it's just got a really great feel to it. It's in the old Dino De Laurentiis studios that Charles Band bought, and it was literally just as it was left, and then they just kind of added a few things to it. So it must have been a wild place to just open up on the morning and walk in and see this crazy set. You've got it's kind of got swinger culture in it as well, which is a bit weird.
Yeah. When I was first watching it, I was like, wait, is this early swinger culture that they're showing us here?
And Chad Allen is a little lad as well. He was in My Two Dads. Mm-hmm. So yeah. It's a lot of fun. So that's my second one on my list. Yeah.
Nice. Number 2, Larry.
Well, number 2.
It's got to be. I know it.
Well, I haven't mentioned it on here, but it's gonna be Puppet Master.
Okay. I was thinking one of the subspecies actually, but all right.
No, well, I mean, for me, again, going back to what I said before, like I lumped Transfers 1 and 2. I kind of did with these as like I lumped in Puppet Master 1, 2, and 3 because those are in my opinion, those are the best ones. And then part 3, I mean, I know y'all were like saying stuff about part 3. I love part 3. It's my favorite. Only reason being is because we see basically how Blade comes to be. It's sort of like his origin, if you want to look at it like that.
Yeah.
The Leech Woman as well. You know, you got 6-shooter. I mean, I always like 6-shooter, but I mean, I think for me, I love the production. I love the way it looks. And again, it goes back to the whole, like, you know, it's like whoever Toulon's kind of, you know, they're doing good to bad people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's you know, so because the 1 and 2, like you said, it's like whoever's controlling them, but you're like seeing them as, you know, doing bad stuff to bad people. Yeah. And I don't know, for me, that the third one is probably my favorite of all of them, but I do love 1, 2, and 3. I mean, like you said, William Hickey is great as Toulon in the first one, and but I did like Toulon in the third one too. I thought he did a decent job.
Yeah.
Isn't Toulon? Isn't Hickey isn't Dolls, right? Is that the actor?
Mm.
Well, I'm thinking of there's another Toulon, the guy in Dolls. Guy Rolfe. Okay, that's it. Yeah. I knew it was.
I get that confused. And when you guys were saying before, I was about to do the same thing, but the opposite way around.
Yeah, it's cool seeing that little connectivity.
Yeah. Because Hickey passed away, I believe.
Yeah,
he passed away right after Mouse Hunt, or during Mouse Hunt, I think, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Nice. Yep. All right, so Puppet Master 1 through 3 for Larry's number 2. Mr. Dan, what is your number 2?
I hope this is okay with Larry. Subspecies 2, Bloodstone.
Nice.
My favorite, definitely now that I've seen the whole series, my favorite Subspecies movie. I think they do everything they did in 1 a little bit better. I think it's gorier, great effects, great atmosphere. Everything, you know, the Romanian atmosphere, the Eastern Europe atmosphere is great in it. You have a new creepy character with that I really liked a lot, with great makeup, I thought. And the mom.
Yeah, Mummy.
Yeah,
she's great. The effects look great on her.
Yeah, to have like a, you know, to have the budget to add another character like that with that level of makeup is you know, something they didn't always have, I don't think. But yeah, it's just really good. And the whole concept of the Bloodstone is smart, you know what I mean? It's almost like it gives them, it's like a MacGuffin for them to covet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Yeah. So as I mentioned it earlier on my list, it was, I forgot already where it was, 5, 4, 5, 6, something like that. But yeah, it's my favorite. I still have to watch 4 and 5, but I have I'm pretty sure it's going to be my favorite. I've seen the first 3 before, like in the past, but now rewatching them again, like absolutely 2 is my favorite. Even though the original, I feel like the original, there's something about the gothic atmosphere to it that just really is like you can cut it with a knife. It's so heavy and prevalent. It's still there in 2 for sure, but it's something about the original has a certain feel to it that I feel they haven't exactly matched since then. But 2 is better for me in every way. Like besides that, like the feel of it, it's much gorier. The effects work is great. Especially we mentioned this, Larry, on the stream with him Radu coming back together. You know, the spinal cord coming out, and all those intro effects are great. All the effects throughout the movie are great, and just the performances are good. Everything is great in that film. So I mean, it's a top full moon film.
Oh, that's cool. Jamie got to interview Diane Franklin. That's cool. Yeah, she seems like.
Oh, nice, Jamie. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and I know I love Amityville Horror too, as well.
It's pretty good.
Possession. And we are up to number 1. Ooh. So, I mean, it's no surprise, I guess, that a Stuart Gordon film is going to be my favorite full moon movie, as well as like an Empire or Charles Band movie. But Castle Freak from '95 is my favorite full moon film. I think it's just excellent in every way. It's one of the few full moon movies that doesn't feel like a full moon film. It just feels like a great fucking movie. It feels like a Stuart Gordon film. And again, we have Barbara Crampton and we have Jeffrey Combs playing very different characters for the most part than what we saw before that in the previous 2 movies with the 2 of them. And just, I love the whole story. I love that it's shot in Italy. I love the castle. I love the location. I love the design of what the hell is his name? Is it Giorgio? The creature himself, but the Castle Freak. Yeah, that's it. And everything about the movie, the kills in it, there's not many, but like the prostitute scene, he bites the nipple off the prostitute. So the way he yanks the cat in the door at the very beginning. There's many great shots. I know. Sorry, Matt.
Well, I'm okay. I'm not okay with cat.
Sorry, cats in general.
Cat dads would be a bit upset about it.
all cats out there that may be watching, apologize.
I mean, yeah, you know what I mean.
But everything in that film is just, the score is great. I forget, did Richard Band do the score for that? I'm pretty sure he did. It's just very like orchestral.
Well, it's Charles Band's Castle. That's all I wrote down for
and I know a little behind the scenes with that is that Gordon came into Charles Band's office and he had a poster already for Castle Freak, and like there was no script or anything, and he offered the movie to Gordon, and Gordon took it, and Charles said to him, there's only 2 things you got to have in there. 1, you got to have a castle, and 2, you have to have a freak. And that's all he said to him. And then he went off and wrote a script and made the movie. And I just love everything about Castle Freak. The remake
that goes through the story, JT, as well, of the audio book. The idea of coming up with a poster first and then a movie second.
He's great with that too. Like I said, just the way Charlie has always been able to market and just is on the business side of everything. He's just amazing at that. And what a great pitch that is to Stuart Gordon. Just all right, here's a movie. It's called Castle Freaks. Got to have a castle. It's got to have a deformed looking motherfucker. That's it. And trusted Gordon enough at that point to do whatever came to mind for an actual story and stuff. And there's genuinely creepy scenes in there too, like with the blind daughter, and when the freak is going up and then almost touching her, and then she knows someone's in the room. All of that is great. I can go on and on in Castle Freak, but let's go on to Matt for number 1.
Or is anybody? Did you want to say?
Or
something
anyone?
Castle Freak?
If anyone wants to talk Castle Freak, if it's not number 1.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I don't know, Mr. Den, is it your number 1 or anything? Or
it's my number 1. Yep.
Nice. Mr. Dan.
We'll wait.
Yep.
Sweet.
Oh right, okay. So you want me
Yeah,
to? Okay, all right. So my number one, I feel like I'm cheating with this one, because it's Reanimator. And has anybody got Reanimator as number one? No. Okay, so Reanimator for me is a 10 out of 10 film. It has everything. Tarantino talks about the perfect film. You know, it might not be like like high art, but it's perfect in its creation. So, for example, like Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Exorcist or something like that. Reanimator for me is 10 out of 10. You know, Stuart Gordon, Lovecraft, Dennis Paoli, Richard Band's music, which is a lovely riff on Psycho. Combs, Crampton. It's funny. It's beautiful to look at. It's lit so well. The direction, like I said before, with Stuart Gordon, is his background in the theatre makes a good film great. He uses small spaces so well that you think you're watching an epic film. And you are watching an epic film. The special effects are incredible.
They're great.
It is the perfect storm of a film, and I just think that for me, it's an untouchable horror film. And I know people sometimes say, "Oh, it's a good starter horror," but actually, it's quite transgressive. It's quite bloody, violent, strange, weird, but it does everything that you want out of a horror film. And it's a thrill, and you never get bored with it. You never get bored with it. So that's my number one.
I'm tired of Reanimator.
Yeah,
and I can watch that movie anytime. Actually, I think that was like the 5th video I did ever on the channel. Was like an hour on Reanimator. Like that was like one of the first movies like I just wanted to talk about. Reanimator is just a perfect film to me, like in every single way, for every single reason that you mentioned. That like nailed it. All.
Yeah, I mean, minus the cat, getting.
Well,
but
that effect though is you feel it.
Yeah, no. I mean, joking aside, no.
Cat trauma is like me with dog trauma already. Oh, to be honest, any animal trauma. For some reason, it's more cartoony. I think in Reanimator, I can accept it a little bit more because it's so.
It makes sense.
Like it's a silly moment rather than
it matters.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like in Return of the Living Dead, where you see like the half dog like moving,
Yeah,
the tone it's like still it's silly, But no, what you said is, I mean, you're right on point, Matt. I mean, it's a great movie. The effects are incredible. I mean, from the cast, I mean, Combs he just steals the show.
Yeah,
Combs is so good in it.
One of the best performances I think in horror is Jeffrey Combs as fucking in Reanimator as Dr. Herbert West. It's like just one of the most iconic performances.
Now, one of the things I wish I would have been able to meet Stuart Gordon, and if I ever get a chance to meet either Jeffrey Combs or Barbara Crampton, I'm gonna say, was the whole like all the naked reanimated people, was that actually in the script, or was that something like that was like
wigged and threw in?
Yeah, it was like Stuart Gordon, or I mean, somebody in the Charles Banner or something. You know what this movie needs?
Yeah,
like
that's like the Roger Corman approach, isn't it? Which is like just pushing some boobs into the film or pushing something really offensive in just on the last minute.
Yeah, and what a ballsy role to accept for Barbara Crampton, like knowing that with that scene, with the head giving head scene at the end, knowing she'd have to do that and stuff. I mean, Barbara Crampton, I always praise. She's one of my like white whales of horror to get on the channel. Barbara, if you see this, I know we've talked a few times. You got to get on here finally. See, Larry wants to talk to you too. We'll ask you about Reanimator.
I got a funny story from
fantastic.
I'll be on it. I'll dress up in the same gear as they wore in From Beyond. if that makes it any in fact, that makes it less likely to happen.
So, Barbara, if you see this, Matt will dress up like you from Beyond. If you want to come on and talk some horror, for sure.
I'll scare some people.
What about you, Mr. Dan? Do you have anything? To say about Reanimator?
Yeah, like I said, this was one of these. Well, even more than From Beyond, Reanimator was a movie. Every time we went to the video store, I was like, "Why don't we get Reanimator?" My friends were always like, "No, no." And finally, there was nothing else to get, and they broke down. And then, about halfway through it, one of my friends just looked at me like, "What the fuck are we watching here? What is this?" They were more into like action movies and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I actually put it in my my high school yearbook in the blurb. So if Jeffrey Combs comes back next year, I'm going to see to the Colonial Theater. I'm going to see if I can have him sign it. That would be pretty funny.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Signing a yearbook from 19, you know, that would be pretty funny. But
yeah, sort of early 2000s.
But
yeah,
early to mid 2000s, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But as far as Castle Freak goes, everything that JT said, plus swinging testicles.
Yep. You gotta add that in. I mean, that and the whole design of the freak is just great in that movie. Yeah. I mean, he really looks intimidating. And funny enough, I did a little short. I showed off my Castle Freak figure, and I found going through closet, like crawl space, I found it very old in the box Castle Freak, same figurine, but it's like a Japanese edition that has a black sack over his head. And so I got to look up on that and see if it's worth anything. Wow. I don't know if I'd want to part with it, but definitely was cool finding that. But yeah, his whole design is really cool.
But he's not in it. The Freak's in it a decent amount of the time. But that's not enough. But of course, everybody that is in the town and in the castle, like almost everyone's like morally compromised somehow. You know what I mean? And you know, and I just Combs is so good. You know, in that.
And then you have the drama going on, the marital drama and stuff, and he accidentally killed their son, and blinded the daughter from driving drunk, and then you have all that great dramatic scenes between Crampton and Combs that are just excellent. Like just anything to do with them. Like I said with Crampton, like when it comes to male actors in horror, like Combs is one of my dream people to ever have on here and talk with.
I mean, one of the last things I guess I'll say about Castle Freak is just like Crampton really, really like shines in her drama in that one.
Yeah.
She really kills it dramatically as a mom. I mean, in rewatching it when we were doing all this, I was just like, wow, man, she's really good in this. And she's really like, you can see the tension and she loves her husband, but at the same time, she's just so she can't forgive him for what happened, and it's just, I mean, she killed it, man. For me, I mean, Combs is good too, but I mean, for me in that film, she was like,
I would agree. Yeah. Crampton performance, if you had to pit them against each other, I would agree with that. Like for all those reasons too, like the way she shows like that hate love, in a way that hates him for what happened, but it's still her husband, still the father of her kids. She still loves this man and doesn't want to, having the whole family's been torn apart, but doesn't want it to continue and get worse. And the way she portrays all of that, it's just excellent. Combs plays more of just, I mean, there's plenty of depth to his character, but he plays a lot more of an everyman than in From Beyond and Reanimator. I think maybe when this movie first came out, maybe that's threw some people off who are already fans of Combs in those movies, and then saw what maybe I've heard is some people not like his performance really in Castle Freak, and that always blows my mind. I mean, I think it's excellent, but I think that might have something to do with it. Is that it's not as an absurd character as he plays, and even From Beyond, he's not as absurd as Frank West in Reanimator. But I could see what where they're coming from, but I can't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing a normal guy.
Yeah, and the way that he plays off, and shows his guilt and his grief over what he did, and it's fantastic. Like anytime, like I said, you throw them two on screen, have Stuart Gordon directing, you're gonna have a masterpiece of a movie. So did everyone do their number one?
No, not yet.
All right, what are we up to?
I guess.
All right, we got Larry.
Well,
That's
I mean,
right,
it's
because Mr. Dan had it. His
Number one,
says
yeah. So I'm
Castle Freak.
pretty much done with my number
Oh.
one, Castle Freak, because I jumped on. So go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, cool. So,
all
right, Larry.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what my number one is.
What
I
could
think
it be, guys? Everyone in chat, start a poll soon. What you guys got to say?
Puppy
What-
Master
Larry's
7.
number one.
No?
Yes,
Evil
that's
Bong.
it. Evil Bong.
Evil
I
Bong
was wondering if we
versus
were going to
Ginger
get
Dead
anything
Man.
about those movies, and we have heard nothing.
Baby Oopsie. No,
Yeah,
my
see, that was at least an honorable mention for me. But I was wondering if we would hear any of those Evil Bong movies or anything like that, and we heard nothing.
Demon
Yeah.
Toys versus Subspecies.
Yeah.
no, I mean for me it's gonna be Subspecies. But again I lump in the series itself. Out of all the Full Moon all the Full Moon franchises, that's the top for me, because it's like out of the 5, I love 4 of those movies, and you know, one really, you know, that's what caught me. 2 kept me like, wow, this is they upped the ante on it, you know. And 3, same thing. I mean, it's basically continuation, and then 4 obviously is 4, and 5. I mean, I felt like it was a really solid return to form, you know, and a great return to the franchise as a prequel. I think, you know, it's like I said to Ted, you know, I didn't know how, my mind was going everywhere, not knowing, you know, how are they going to do it or how they're going to pull it off, and then the way they pull it off, I was very satisfied with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, very few franchises, like if that much time passes, it's hard to. You look at the, you know, the whole Mother of Tears thing, you know.
Yeah, and I actually like Mother of Tears.
Yeah.
I enjoy it as a later Argento film. Yeah, but definitely, you can't. It doesn't feel like a third part as much as if it was made around the same time. You know, a few years after. It's just the time and the way it's filmed and technology, all of that. It just has a different feel to it.
Yeah, and Denise Duff and Anders Hove are both really good in it. You know, it's great. It was cool, awesome to see them in it. You know, so much time has passed, and you know,
and I mean, not just that. You see or they make the connection of why he's so obsessed with that character, or with, you know. Because I mean, the Elena from 5, you know. Well, you haven't seen it, right, JT?
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten to 4 or 5.
So I won't get into it. But I mean, I like the way they kind of connected the two, they connected it back. But yeah, and then that was the other thing too. Like I nothing against the original. What's her name? Tate, but I kind of wish Denise was, and Ted said it too, is like he wished they would have been continuous all through, because once they had Denise, I was like, man, I wouldn't trade her for anything.
Yeah,
the rest of the series.
Yeah, no, like as we talked with Ted about the recasting and stuff, and usually it does bother me in movies, but she's great. And I put my own little headcanon in there that she got turned into a vampire in the second one, so then she looks physically different, and that works. And that's like, all right, that's like, all right, that's fine, and I accept that. That's my answer, and then I'm fine to accept that recast. I can't do that with a lot of recasts, so that's a benefit there also. But yeah, we just the whole feel of the subspecies movies that I've seen so far. I still got the other 2 and the spinoff, but. And we talked this with Ted also, the fact they film in Romania and they film on location there and stuff. I mean, you're filming in Romania and you're making vampire films. Like, there's nowhere better like to be filming your movies, and it instantly ups the production. Like, it instantly makes what a lower budget film look like a much bigger budgeted film. And you see this in a lot of foreign films, Japanese horror, Indonesian horror, Indian horror, just because of the countries that they're so beautiful that ups the production right there, and the look of the movie and how it looks, cinematography, all of that gets instantly upped because of the location. So that they've always been excellent, Full Moon, with being able and having that relationship with Italy and with Romania and a few other countries and stuff that they shoot at very, very often, because a lot of their movies absolutely benefit from that on set location in those countries.
Yeah, they found some great outdoor locations for Subspecies 5 with the, I mean, they're just having these casual conversations and these like beautiful waterfalls right behind them.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah, they really found
and I mean, going back to what you said earlier, JT, was just like for the first one, they haven't been able to capture that gothic, like that specific gothic look from the first one, but I think it's because of they were filming directly after the the fall of
Yeah.
them being able to. So the way Ted described it of how bleak it was, it really shines on the screen for the first one. And
Oh yeah, no, it definitely does.
I mean, yeah, two is like y'all were saying, the effects are better. They definitely had a bigger budget on 2 and 3, but it's just like going back to that first one. That first one for me is still, and then you got Angus Scrimm in there, which my only down.
That's so funny that you mentioned. And go ahead, Larry.
The only down, I guess the only thing that. And I wanted, this was something else I would have asked Ted, is like, well, couldn't we have had him a little bit more, in the film? I felt like, you got the tall man. It's kind of like,
utilize
and he's
him.
a king, and he's a king.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
he
like
dies in the first opening scene of the movie, and I thought it was funny that you just brought that up, because I was going to say it's similar in a way for me, not like in the tone, but like with the effects and the bigger budget and stuff, like Phantasm versus Phantasm 2 and Subspecies versus Subspecies 2.
Yeah.
Kind of drew a little parallel in my head about that, because of I feel like they haven't matched the intense surrealistic feeling in the original Phantasm, even though they do keep to it pretty well throughout all the movies. Maybe not Ravager, but oh well. 4 out of 5 and bad batting average, right?
Yeah.
So they end up it's so unmatched, the feeling of the first Phantasm, but the second one, I could see why it's so many people's favorites, and it does so many things better, like in most ways, and the effects are one of them. It's very similar to me.
Yeah, I only saw Phantasm 2 for the first time after I started my channel. I couldn't believe the level of the special effects, because people talk about, obviously they talk about the Blob, the Thing, the Fly, but man, there was some great effects, some stuff you never seen before, like creatures coming out of someone's back and stuff, and
the ball of the sphere coming, like, goes into the guy and comes out of his mouth and all that. I mean, that's all awesome.
It was good. Yeah,
and then see, you just said it right there. JT is like 4 out of 5 in bed. Same thing with Subspecies.
Right. Yeah. From all accounts that I've heard, and from you,
4 out of 5 ain't bad, man. I mean, that goes back to why I consider it my favorite Full Moon franchise, is because it's like, of the series, I love most of the movies out of it. Whereas Puppet Master, I like the 3. And then
exactly, and then you have fucking 15 Puppet Masters. So I mean, the quality's dropping at some point and stuff. At least with like 5 films and with a spinoff, even you can keep to a certain quality for that amount of movies. Like if it went on to like a Subspecies 13 and shit, like I'm not sure many would enjoy it as much. Who knows? I mean, Ted, if he stayed behind it and wanted to keep making the movie, I'm sure he can do a great job. I mean, 5 seems to be a return to form, as you say, after 4. So I'm sure he can do a great job with continuing the series. But all right, guys, I mean, that is our top 10 Full Moon / Empire / Charles Band films list.
We did it.
We did it. We got it done. And this is a total blast. So everybody in chat, thanks for hanging out. I want you guys leave some in the comments, some favorite Full Moon films and Charles Band movies of yours. Maybe we didn't mention some. Definitely want to hear those. So leave them in the comments. And before we end, quick, I guess go around. What's going on your guys' channels this coming week? Larry?
So I got In the House tomorrow over on Don's channel. And I'm hoping I can get a video out for tomorrow. I need to get it finished. Hopefully. It's been a crazy week, but I think that's about it. I think.
Okay, cool. Nice. So In the House is always fun with Don at the Night Owl. So, Mr. Dan, what's going on with your channel this weekend?
Well, tomorrow I got my normal Physical Media Friday video, but I'm actually, it's a kind of a different one because I went down to my daughter's place and the people that they bought the house from left some DVDs and VHS tapes there. So I kind of show those, and then I talk about how I brought a movie down for us to watch as a family movie. And
cool.
We had to look for the VCR and the DVD player and get it hooked up to watch the movie. So I kind of talked that process because not everybody does that anymore. Then I also have my franchise frenzy, so it's going to be ranking the part 5s. So for subspecies, it's going to be part 4, right? Because of Vampire Journals, yeah, right, cool. Yeah. So subspecies, I'm going to rank subspecies 4 will be in with the part 5s of the franchises that I picked. And then on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, I'm doing something really kind of different. I'm reviewing a book that I took on my trip with me. It's a Western. It was written by a YouTuber named Madison Thames. She is a writer and an artist. She self-published this book. I read it on my trip. It's really good. And so I'm going to review it, and I've invited her to come. I'm going to premiere the video at 8 Eastern Standard Time, and I invited her to come in the comments and just chit-chat with people.
Cool. Sweet. That's awesome. Man. That's
so she's going to try to be in the comments. And after that, I'm going to ask her to come on my channel for an interview, but she doesn't know that yet. So.
That's great, man. And it's cool that, one, that you had a great vacation, and two, that it's leading to an awesome little interesting content from yours that's outside of your norm.
Right.
So that's really cool. Matt, I know you got to get to bed soon, put the bottle in your mouth, and go to bed. But what's going on?
To get my nightcap on.
Yeah.
So
those 1800 ones with the pom pom and stuff.
I've got my little candle. I've got to go upstairs. So so there's that. And on the 1st of, I've had a little break of a few days of posting things, but on January, in June the 1st, there's an interview that I have done with Jed Shepard, the writer of 2020's film The Host. If people haven't seen Host, it's one of my favorite modern horrors. People think of it as the Zoom horror. It's everything that he told me. I had a 3-hour interview with him, and I cut it down to an hour a year ago. But what I've done now is I've just gone in and just took the parts about Host, some things that I haven't had on the channel before. And then after that is my retrospective of Host from a podcast that I was on recently. So it's all about Host, really. That'll be on the 1st of June. I'm really looking forward to seeing if people like it, what their thoughts on Host are 4 years later. It's one of those films, I think, that is going to be seen as a modern classic. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time. He's such an interesting guy.
It's a very effective film, especially when it comes to the whole wave that we got of Zoom, like you said, Zoom calls or screen horror films and stuff like that all take place on the screen, Unfriended and The Den, and in that type of vein. And then this came a little after.
And I would say
good original movie, and it's short.
Yeah, that's it. And I would say out of all of those, it's the same length as a Zoom call, because at the time there was this 60-minute limit. Obviously, if they made it about another year later, it'd be a 40-minute film. But they cut the limit down of 3 calls. But it's for me, it stands out from. I watched Unfriended relatively recently for a podcast, and Host is for me head and shoulders above it in terms of. And Rob Savage has gone on to do the Boogeyman, the Stephen King film, which didn't really break him in America, but I still feel he's got that in him. And I think Jed as well, who I interviewed, the writer, he is, he's mentored by Sam Raimi. He's trying to get British horror, popular again. He's trying to build it up and trying to make it consumer friendly rather than award friendly, and kind of. So I'm really looking forward to that. And thanks for having me on. Thanks for allowing me to spend this time with these awesome guys talking about cool films. I really appreciate it. Thanks, JT. You're a legend.
Thank you guys all for coming on. Always a pleasure having all you guys. And everyone in the chat, have a great night. I was going to say what's going on in my shit. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
like it's just random and shit. I got to do Ginger Snaps. I can't remember the name of this fucking movie. The prequel one, Unleashed, maybe.
Oh,
Ginger Snaps Unleashed. No, yeah, Snaps Back is the sequel. The second one.
Snap Back to Reality.
That's what I keep confused. Yeah, that's what I keep confusing about it. Because the first video, we just hit 2 years on the channel like a few days ago. And the first video I ever did was chosen at random. I just scrolled with my eyes closed on Tubi or something like that, and Ginger Snaps came up, and I love Ginger Snaps. So that was the first video. Then on the year anniversary, I did Ginger Snaps 2. So now I figure it's only fitting to end the trilogy after 2 years with the prequel, with the final film. So
the beginning.
Yeah, the beginning. Yeah, it's like Ginger Snaps Unleashed, the beginning or something. I don't remember it being good or anything like that. But at least it'll get finished, and it keeps to the theme of the yearly Ginger Snaps. I guess that'll never happen again after this. But I don't know if I'll have that out tonight. If anything, if I'll probably fall asleep, wake up at a weird hour, and then start recording it. So expect that in the next day or two.
JT, doing Ginger Snaps versus Demonic Toys versus Evil Bong.
I said you keep pitching ideas around me and stuff. That's how the mock trailers get made. So just keep them up. But all right, everybody in chat, I hope everyone has a great night. Don't forget to wish Jamie a happy birthday this weekend coming up. And Jamie, I'll talk to you later. And all right, guys, everyone have a great night.
Everybody have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.